All right, everybody. Welcome on in. It is game day, uncensored here on 560 WQAM. Smells like a home opener. Smells like a home opener. Crisp morning. Everybody heading down to the Rock, getting their tailgating going. Please don't leave your grill under your car. We don't need any. No fires this year.
That's right.
No fires this year. But it is an exciting day. Your Miami Dolphins are 2-0. Week 3 is upon us. Good morning, everybody. Welcome on in. Tobin here with you alongside Omar Kelly and Alejandro Solana here with you for the next 4 hours, getting you ready for a matchup against the Denver Broncos. How are we feeling this morning, boys? How are we feeling? Solana, you look confident. You look like you're ready for 3-0.
Teams that are 3-0, I don't remember the stat. I should have written it down, but teams that are 3-0 are almost a shoo-in for the playoffs. Let's go.
100%. Was that the stat?
It's almost 100%.
Okay,
I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was close to 100%. Let's go. You're at home. First 2 wins on the road. Now you come up against an 0-2 team. Dolphins are 12-2 in their last 14 at Hard Rock Stadium. Let's go.
Man. Omar, how are we feeling this morning?
Good. It's a nice muggy South Florida day.
Yeah.
That's going to benefit you. If it rains, it's going to be even a little bit more steamy. We know these September 1 o'clock games give the Miami Dolphins a huge, tremendous advantage. I've been out there training camp, just watching practice. I'm exhausted. The heat is beating out of me. And so I definitely expect it to be a game that's decided by the fourth quarter.
Last week, Sunday Night Football, the Miami Dolphins team, it was a much different win, I would say, than the back and forth affair that was the Chargers victory, where you're on the edge of your seat, leads were changing. This one you were kind of just holding on and hoping you could get to the end of it because, there'd be a flying player out of nowhere blocking a kick, snaps to go on the ground. What were your
hold on, didn't you expect that from the Patriots? Or did you expect the Patriots to lay down?
No, I didn't expect them to lay down, but I felt like it was just angst. Like it just felt like it wouldn't end. And then, there was, pass interference. They're going down now. They're within a score. So yeah, it was just one of those where like I never felt like the Dolphins were going to lose, but I really wanted that game to end. And it felt like a very slow crawl to the ending. What were your takeaways from last week?
I was very pleased to see them play Belichick and see how Belichick coached them and see them have answers, see them have counters. That 3 safety look that Belichick gave, I haven't seen it probably ever in my career, to take Tyreek away. I expect teams to replicate that and try to, if you think about it, even though Jalen Waddle's not going to play today, if you think about it, what's the best approach to take away that deep threat? Well, have 3 safeties over the top. No matter what, they're not going to beat you over the top, and then work underneath. And I think that teams are going to build on that. Will it be the Denver Broncos and Vance Joseph, who I know is a pretty aggressive play caller? Probably not, but I do expect other teams to build on that. I was pleased by the way that they countered. I was pleased with how Raheem Mostert really stepped up in the backfield. Yes, they lost Savon Ahmed, which means it's going to be a huge game for Devon Achane. This is going to be his 2-week showcase to let you to say, hey, I'm ready to play. Let me get some playing time because Jeff Wilson's coming back, and we know that job belongs to Jeff Wilson. So the rookie's got to raise his hand if he wants the job. But I was very impressed with the elevation and the movement of the offense, the defense tightening. That's great, but let's not pretend like New England's are a threat offensively because they're not.
Tobin, I love what Omar brought up there, though. The 3 safeties, or at least, the 3 DBs. How are the Broncos going to approach this? I think today is very interesting because Vance Joseph, as you said, he's aggressive, but they love that single high look, right? Where sometimes they'll bring that safety down. They'll play 1 safety up top.
Oh, you ain't bringing that safety down.
They're blitzing. They're blitzing almost more than anybody else in the league. Dolphins' offensive line, outside of 1 sack, has been excellent this season. Is Tron Armstead going to play?
I told you guys that, right?
Yeah. Like how is Vance Joseph going to be able to counter this? And it sucks that Waddle's not playing because you love the idea of them trying to send pressure early on and Tua just zip, 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 finding Waddle and Tyreek. Like I'm very interested to see how Vance Joseph, who may want to win this game a little bit more. Same goes for Vic Fangio.
Yeah, a little double revenge.
Oh, no, wait. This man went and worked for the team that fired him as a head coach.
True.
Like, let's.
But
I mean, new ownership and things
he's
like that.
That is true. That is a factor. He's a mercenary.
But it is the same. It is the same logo. It's still a little weird.
You could be on wife 4, but you see wife 1 10 years after divorce, and
spark could still be there.
I mean, you never know.
Listen, if you got 4 wives, the problem is you. Number one. But yeah, I understand where you're coming from. Like the hatred could disseminate. It just
Yeah, and look, I agree with you, Omar. I think that you knew Belichick was going to try and take away some stuff, but I think ultimately the thing that was exciting is the Dolphins' talent still shined through. We said this; they were the more talented team, and they took care of it, even though there were some dicey moments, and it was a road game in prime time.
Were you scared?
I wouldn't say scared. There were just frustrating moments. Like the things that frustrated me was like some Sanders, some kicks, you know. I
mean, it's a 55-yarder. It's not like a layup.
Whatever, dude. I mean, this guy, like, I have no faith he's ever gonna make a kick that's like a little bit like something, you know.
He did it to get you to the playoffs.
Oh, please.
I keep bringing up old stuff. Is that what the feeling here?
I will tell you right now, there is not a Dolphin fan listening to us right now that says Jason Sanders lines up outside of 37 yards and you feel good about it.
Listen,
37.
Yeah, I don't know why I specifically picked that number.
Outside of 17, maybe. Like,
oh, wow.
Omar,
that too.
Omar, there's going to be a kick where the Dolphins need to win a playoff game, and they have their kicker being trotted out there, and not a single person, other than Danny Crossman, apparently, who thinks Jason Sanders is a Hall of Famer.
Hey, Mike McDaniel, too. Don't.
Sure. I mean, like, there's not a single person in the world who is confident he's going to make that kick. Not a single person.
Yeah. So I was nervous about that, but, you know, all right, we'll deal with it. I was nervous. Obviously, this center QB thing, this is really frustrating.
Hey, if you ask Mike McDaniel, it's just 2 of 62 plays.
Yeah, if you want to talk about the biggest whopper of the week, that was definitely it for me. Where I was like, I'm like, okay, 2 out of 6. So are interceptions. Like, what are we talking about? Like, you know, I'm terrified of it because it's like you never know when it's going to strike. It's just
you
never know.
You don't know when it's going to strike.
It could be at any point. It's just like, ball's on the ground. I'm like, when is that going to get fixed? And then I think, you know, Leroy's been warning me about this, but like I feel like we kind of got our first taste of, you know, no Jalen Ramsey out there. Eli Apple, you know, getting pass interferences and then getting shook out of his shoes by Devontae Parker. I was like, all right, you know. So there were some angst moments, but I was never worried.
Put some respect on Devontae Parker's name. He was your leading receiver for what, like 6-7 years?
He was, but I think of Devontae Parker. I think of goes up and gets the big catch. I don't think of him breaking ankles.
No, he's not.
That's what threw me for a loop. I'm like, I'll take you getting burned. I'll take you getting bodied. I'm like, that's Devontae Parker.
It's Eli Apple though.
I know.
Listen. I'm going to let you know right now. I do believe there's going to be a change in the secondary, but I'm not sure it's going to be your rookie.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Who? Cam Smith?
I said I'm not sure it's going to be your rookie.
Okay. All right.
They were experimenting and they were trying out guys. I don't know who won the battle, but it was an open battle, open competition, and we shall see who is that third cornerback eventually. You know, when they line up for the game.
Tobin, that's a game on Sunday Night Football that the Dolphins of past would lose.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They have that lead. Everything's going great in the first half. Belichick makes
maybe
his
with
adjustments.
Brady on the other side.
I'm just saying it doesn't matter who the opponent is. Like the way the Dolphins offense and even their defense kind of slowed down a bit. It got ugly at the end. Like that's a game that they would lose in the past.
Oh, for sure.
And I think, you know, you have to be able to win pretty as the Dolphins did in week 1 offensively. And you also have to figure out ways to win ugly in this league if you're going to be a legit team, and the Dolphins did that. So that was my biggest takeaway. Like the passing game was great in the first half, not so great in the second half for whatever reason, and they figured out ways to continue to score. They got that big rush, and the offensive line continued to be sturdy. Like that to me was the biggest takeaway for me on Sunday Night Football, other than Jason Sanders being a bum. is that
Listen,
they figured out ways to win a game that of years past, that Dolphins team would have blown that on Sunday Night Football.
Let's go through couples therapy here. What is Jason Sanders going to have to do to regain your trust?
It's over right now. It's going to have to be.
It's over. You just want a divorce.
It's just, here's what he's going to have.
There's nothing he can do.
No, he's going to have to hit like a big one in the playoff for me to be like, all right.
What about if he hits like 50 yarders?
Nope.
But he's not. But Omar, he's not, because he's 4 of 13 since 2021.
Yeah.
Like in 2020, all-pro kicker. Nobody can take that away from him.
New day.
This is a 3-year
It's a new day, new clean slate.
It's
nothing.
just,
2-year sample size.
It's too much damage done.
It's just it's always going to be when he hits it. Phew, it's never going to be like knew he's going to do that. It's always going to be relief. It's going to be relief. That's just where it's at right now. I don't know what the line the line is or where it's at. I thought that maybe getting to the playoffs would have helped, but then like he comes out and he misses an extra point week 1. You know,
That's
like
fair. Yeah,
it's like
you've got scars.
Yeah.
Can't get over it.
Not now.
Not now.
Not week 3.
2 game winners this year.
Depends how long. He's got to Justin Tucker it. Real impressive.
2 game winners.
2 game winners, 50 plus. Can he win you
It would
back?
help.
All right, I'm down,
That
but I just don't like. How are we getting there? Because the dude is 4 of 13 from 50 in the past 2 seasons. That's my whole point. It's not, oh, he missed that kick the other day, I'm through with him. We have a 2-year plus 2-week sample size of this guy not being consistent in those moments. That's where I'm at. To me, it's all statistical. Had he not been 4 of 13 from 50 and he missed the other day, fine, whatever. He was a little rattled, the little block from the outside that we had never seen. Like, all of that makes sense to me.
That was such a Belichick play. That was really annoying.
Oh, you knew it was going to happen, didn't
so
you?
annoying.
You did. You knew
like,
it was going to. He's always going to get you on special teams. Some way, somehow, he's going to catch you with your pants down.
How over under 10 attempts from that type of play are we going to see today? Because I fully
You think
expect
everyone's going to try it.
I fully expect the NFL to adopt that.
We'll see. I mean,
according to Dan Crossman, it's going to be harder to adopt than you think, and part of the reason is they had inside knowledge.
Yeah, I heard that there was something like they had the guy had a tell.
Yeah,
He played for the Pats last year.
Mm-hmm. He had tell. I mean, he played for the Pats many years, so they knew what to tell was. So hey, but Belichick's going to catch you with your pants down.
Yeah.
You know it. Like you can expect it the next time they play.
All right, we'll take
He's going to catch you slipping somehow.
We'll take a quick break here on Game Day Uncensored. Of course, the big story going into this one: no Jalen Waddle. How do the Dolphins adjust without number 17 out there? More Game Day Uncensored. Stream it live on YouTube and Twitch, the channel Miami 560 WQAM, and on the Odyssey app. Back after this.
Hey, want to see the ugly mugs that go
FM 99.9 HD2 and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Sponsored by South Florida Lexus dealers, Tito's Handmade Vodka, Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac, JM Lexus, and Williamson Automotive.
Welcome back into Game Day Uncensored here on 560 WQAM. Tobin here with you alongside Omar Kelly and Alejandro Solana. Vlad producing for us this morning. Appreciate you getting up early with us here, Vlad, on a Sunday. Let's get to our keys to the game, which is brought to us by Edmore Sawgrass Chevrolet. It is your lease return headquarters. Click EdmoreSawgrassChevrolet.com and see how you're backed by Morse when it comes to returning your lease. Ed Morse is a proud partner of the Miami Dolphins. Big key today. Jalen Waddle is out with a concussion. Omar, how surprised were you that we got that news yesterday? And how did the Dolphins deal without having one of their star receivers?
Not surprised. If you know Mike McDaniel and you know this organization, this franchise's history with concussions, they've sort of changed the entire league in terms of how you're dealing with a concussion. So now it's better to be safe than to be sorry. I'm pretty sure Jalen could have played if he really pushed it and pushed to. But let me ask you guys a question. Do you need Jalen Waddle for Denver or do you need Jalen Waddle for Buffalo?
You need it for Buffalo.
Okay.
Definitely.
So if the sentiment is that every week is important in the NFL, anybody can get you. Anybody can get you. Arizona has shown that, Arizona, everybody would argue that they're probably the worst team in the NFL, right? Correct?
Bro,
Yes.
I don't understand what's going on with Arizona. Watching them yak it up like they did last week, it was almost fishy.
You know what they're doing.
You do know what they're doing.
They just got to make it look competitive, but you do know what they're doing.
Got to be honest with you, Denver rivaled them last week with the Commanders because they were up. What were they up? 3 touchdowns last week?
3 touchdowns. I think it was 21-3 at one point.
Woof.
Listen, so here's the thing about Jalen. I think they're being cautious and making sure that he's ready for Buffalo. And the truth of the matter is, they've got a competent, reliable, consistent receiving core. It's probably the area where they have the best depth on the team. And now that Chosen is elevated, Robbie Chosen, I was a little bit uncomfortable and uncertain whether Robbie Chosen would be elevated or not because there is some comfort level, some lack of comfort with him in terms of understanding the offense. But if we're going to be real about it, Robbie Chosen is the only guy who can keep your offense the exact same that it is because he gives you the scare threat of the big play and the deep threat. You want to go double Tyreek, no problem. We're going to send Chosen over the top, and Tua, Tua can deliver, and Chosen can catch it. And Chosen is a very established NFL wide receiver, 87 starts. Now, that doesn't mean that they're going to use him exclusively. They're probably going to use him for maybe 20 plays, just those plays that set up the big play. But then you're going to see a lot of Braxton Berrios.
Yeah.
Tyreek generally plays the slot, even though he doesn't like to be called a slot receiver. He generally plays and fills in that slot role, goes into motion and creates that havoc. But I think you're probably going to see Tyreek stay a little bit traditional in terms of what he is and as a flanker. And Braxton have probably 10 more snaps in the slot. And then you got River Craycraft, who is your most seasoned veteran, the guy who can play all 3 positions. He knows the offense better than everybody except for the quarterbacks. And he's probably going to be in there blocking and running plays. And then you got the Eric Uzukama and the Deebo Samuels package.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, do you?
I do. And then Tyreek got me all. I know Tyreek is, we always got to have our Whopper detector up for him.
But that's a good segment. Yeah. The Whopper. What? From this point out, my job is to go in and try to see how many Whoppers I can get Tyreek to say per week.
Do you have this flat on Tyreek with Uzukama? Because this was very exciting this week.
Just the small nuances that I know in the offense.
There you go.
I sense one Whopper in there.
Which one?
Listen.
Comparing him to T.O.?
Yeah, I know what T.O. looks like. Yeah, I've seen T.O. in person. I don't know if Tyreek has ever seen T.O. in person. Eric Uzukama does not look like T.O. Not even the slightest.
I remember seeing Uzukama last year at Tyreek Hill Gala, and I don't recall being like, wow, this guy is incredible.
He's not
small, like but I didn't remember thinking like, oh, that's the biggest physical freak I've ever seen.
It didn't work though, right? Uzukama versus New England, like Belichick kind of put the nicks on the stuff behind the scenes. But Omar, I mean, you're talking about the Deebo Samuel package and how Robbie Chosen today could get some of those opportunities. Like, why not Uzukama in a different role today? Everybody's expecting him to run near Tua, get some sort of pitch.
Yeah.
And like that's what we know or are expecting from him. But why not allow him to go downfield? Like, I remember him and Skylar Thompson hooking up for some nice deep balls.
That's true.
Back in the preseason. So like, he's definitely capable of making those big time plays too.
I think they're more comfortable just shorter stuff and handing him the ball. I can honestly tell you, I really haven't seen him catch or do anything really downfield probably since training camp. I know what you were talking about in the exhibition season last year, but that's just Skylar balling, man. That's just Skylar.
They were an incredible connection.
Yeah, they had blossomed him and Tanner Connor. Skylar had his unit, man. Skylar had the Eric Uzukama, Tanner Connor, River Craycraft. Skylar was balling with those guys. I don't know if that's Eric Uzukama's game in terms of I don't want to waste those snaps with him going downfield. I really don't.
But you mentioned with Robbie, like I got to be honest with you, like I'm honestly surprised nobody picked Robbie up. Like I know he's.
Come on, with the baggage he's got.
I know he's got baggage.
He's got some. He's got Louis, baby. He's carrying some Louis with him.
But he's got credentials. Like the guy's got credentials. I'm a little surprised that nobody thought, all right, we'll take a fly. We know that he's got the experience. So with the Dolphins being able to turn to him, it's we saw this last week. Like they've kind of had this ability, like with one of their star guys being down with Jalen Phillips, Teron Armstead. They filled the void very nicely. It's not a horrible place to go to have him out there.
No, it's actually my favorite place to go. I'm a big Robbie Chosen fan, and despite what people want to say, like I could tell you when Jalen Waddle was down with his torso injury, who was making plays in practice, not the games. In practice, it was Robbie Chosen, and Robbie Chosen is one of the top playmakers on the team, no question about it. Now, does he understand and I hate to say that and sound super critical about guys like, does he understand the offense? Like I'm saying he's stupid or something. No, this offense is extremely complex, more complex than any offense I've ever dealt with or covered. People literally will say it takes you about 2 years to figure it out. All the motions, all the movement, all the audibles, all the adjustments, and Tua's got it. And that's the most important thing. And people don't realize this. A lot of times when you see, because Tua throws to spots, we've established that, correct? He does not throw to receivers. Tua throws to spots that he expects his receivers to be in. So oftentimes when you see an interception, not the deep throw to Tyreek, that was underthrown pass. But when you see an interception, generally it's because the wide receiver wasn't in the spot that he needed to be in. And so that's just a risk that you take when you play guys that don't really know or get the offense yet. And, except for Tyreek, who says he was freelancing and playing just strictly on speed and athleticism last year. I don't know whether or not to believe that or not.
I don't.
I know you don't.
He went too far when he said he prepared with Madden. I maybe would have believed it up until that point.
But that was like months later. That lie was months later. And he said he was kidding. He said he mowed Roger Goodell's lawn. He is a liar. He is a whopper teller. Now, lying is a little bit pushing it too far. He's a whopper teller.
Yes.
I did not know this. Yes.
He can tell whoppers all he wants. Just be the fastest thing in the sport.
He's a dangerous weapon, man. He's a freak of nature. But yeah, he needs for the offense to work and look. And this is what people don't understand. For the offense to work and look the way that it's worked and looked, you need those two threats.
For sure.
You need those two guys to stretch the field and keep things open for Tua. Do you want to see what happens to this offensive team start clamping down? No.
I mean, but
it won't be as fun.
I don't know what would happen, but I don't want to see it.
But I think our offensive line and Raheem Mostert have at least shown that like they can fill those holes, right? If Tua's struggling because of injury with Tyreek or with Waddle or whatever,
yeah,
I don't know. I feel
they can
like
run the ball.
Raheem Mostert against the Patriots ran the ball pretty damn well. So, I mean, that's something you have in your back pocket. And I also think, I mean, they went out and they kept River Craycraft. They brought in Braxton Berrios.
Love Berrios.
I think those guys
Why
have
do you
shown
love
you.
Berrios?
First of all, he's a Cane and he's back.
Yeah.
And he's going to have his first home game at Hard Rock Stadium. But second of all, look, dude, he's come up with 2 monster catches the first 2 weeks.
Hands, dude.
You know,
Just hands.
it's just something about him. I just like him.
You watch him for 4 years at UM. That's what it is.
I know, but it's like
it's
now,
not. It's consistent. It's not sexy.
I don't care. It's like it just shows up at the right time.
It's a little sexy. Hold on a second. I mean, Tua rolling out 3rd and long, and Berrios is on the sideline making a tough grab for an important first down
sexy.
against the Chargers.
Okay,
Like,
all right, I take it back. I withdraw. Braxton
hands,
Berrios is sexy.
Look,
All right.
maybe it's not always sexy, but
Yeah.
he'll lift his skirt a little every now and then. You know
Show
what I
your
mean?
little leg, show your little leg.
Yeah.
He's gonna go half jersey. You know, show off the abs.
Oh yeah, he does have he's got an 8-pack.
Crop top.
He's got an 8-pack. He's a crop
He
top.
goes
wearer.
crop top at
Yeah,
at practice.
he's a crop top
Yeah,
guy.
yeah.
We'll take a quick break here on Game Day Uncensored. More to get into, including a bounce back effort from the defense and Fangs. Revenge game? That's next.
Text WQAM on the Kendall Toyota text.
JM Lexus and Williamson Automotive.
Welcome back into Game Day Uncensored here on 560 WQAM. Home opener for your Miami Dolphins. 1 o'clock kickoff from Hard Rock Stadium against the Denver Broncos and Mr. Unlimited, Russell Wilson. See if you can get
Mr. Unlimited.
that guy, man. You want to talk about stock falling. I cannot think of a quarterback that beloved, at least by or just revered, and then all of a sudden just off a cliff. Nobody, like, everybody thinks he's a bum now. Not even respectable. They think he's a bum now.
No, I don't think he's a bum. I think that the byproduct of an aged quarterback who's small, who can no longer run, that wasn't all ever his game, but he lived off his athleticism.
Yeah.
And there's a certain point where you lose your athleticism in the NFL and you're just a quarterback. Now the question is, how good of a quarterback is he? And obviously Seattle didn't think he was that good of a quarterback because they moved on, and Geno Smith has pretty much showed you the very little drop off.
Yeah. I know I spent a lot of time with Channing Crowder, who is on record.
He's the anti
Russell Wilson.
Corny.
I don't want to say he's a hater, but he has taken some flack for his words on Russell Wilson. I'm gonna go with bum here. Maybe it's because I spent a lot of time with Crowder, but I hate doing that because I genuinely thought Russell Wilson was one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL prior to him showing up in Denver. But he's had one good half of football this season. Last year, 0 good halves of football as a quarterback.
Hold on. He's got 108 quarterback rating right now. Like, are you going to
one good half of football? But they're 0-2, Omar. You know
they are.
They're 0-2.
And I'm not making excuses for him. And I do. Just from my work with I Am Athlete, I've dealt with a lot of players and professional players, and they do align with Channing Crowder's views that this guy is lame-o.
Yeah,
and a bum.
He's a little lame.
I feel like there's a lot of jealousy involved there because Sierra is his wife.
Fair thing to be jealous about.
But my thing isn't that, like, just the whole Mr. Unlimited thing.
Mr. Unlimited.
Hold on,
wait a
minute. Let's ride.
You don't like Let's Ride? Let's ride.
He's trying.
Come on, man. Wait.
Hard. He's trying
do it.
so
do it cool.
hard.
Do it cool.
No.
Don't just say. Don't just say Let's Ride.
Today,
no, it's
of all days, I'm not doing that.
Let's ride.
No.
Let's ride.
No.
Let's ride. It's come on, man. No matter what this guy tries to do, you guys are going to put him in the cornball category.
Yeah, but even he's always been corny. Like he was corny even back in Seattle. But the thing was, now it's corny and like it's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's 108 quarterback rating. I mean, is a 2-0 start really on him? And I'm not saying it.
You put up 16 points against the Raiders.
Okay, I mean, Raiders are not terrible.
Well, they got smacked around by the Bills last week.
A lot of people get smacked around by the Bills, though.
Not the Jets.
Jets have arguably a top 5 defense.
All right, but it's the Raiders, dude. Like, you lost to the Raiders already, and you coughed up to the. I mean, the Commanders are off to a nice start, but
don't disrespect the Commanders. Sam Howell.
Not yet.
I'm a Sam Howell believer.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not a believer in their offensive coordinator, but I am a Sam Howell believer, and I don't understand how Sam Howell I don't understand how Sam Howell just was a leftover quarterback. I mean, a year before, he was going to be the number 1 pick in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
He goes will be a 5th round pick. Come on. Guys don't fall. Yes, he lost all of his weapons and his offensive line struggled. What quarterback doesn't struggle? I believe in Sam Howell.
For this game in particular, Omar, this is easy storyline. Vic Fangio. This is his former team.
Why are you calling him by his name? I'm used to you. I finally have gotten used to you referring to him as Fangs.
Well, listen, this is the revenge of Fangs. This is and this was Vic Fangio earlier in the week. He said, he's trying to do the thing. The old don't like to stir things up, but he says
who Fangs doesn't like to stir things up.
He's here and he's like, not a revenge game.
Every game we play in this league, 1 of 16. I mean, 17 now is equally important. And, I'm sure when I see some of the people there that are still there that I know, say hello and you think back a little bit. But I enjoyed my time there. There's still about 15 or 16 players. that are on the team from when I was there. Wish them nothing but success, except this week. And really don't look at it much different. If the game maybe had been in Denver, maybe.
See, like, he was honest. I mean, come on. He's not going to not be honest. He's at the point in his life where he doesn't care about what you think.
Tobin, Fangs hasn't slept in 2 weeks, man. He totally looked over that Patriots Sunday Night Football game. He wants this one. I'm telling you.
At a certain point, I think these coaches, they're just so used to moving around and being part of their 6th, 7th, 8th franchise. He became a head coach. I remember I asked him in training camp, like, what's the one lesson that you learned about from being a head coach? And he was just like, yeah, don't be a head coach during COVID. And
that kind of sounds like, though, when you say that, it feels for me like he's feeling like he kind of got a raw deal.
Yeah, he does.
So why wouldn't you have a little bit of a little extra juice going into this one?
I mean, but a lot of people feel like did Vance Joseph feel like he got a fair shake?
I don't know.
How about the coach that just got fired after 1 year? Did he feel like he got a fair shake?
Nathaniel Hackett?
Yeah.
Come on.
I can't believe the blowtorch that Sean Payton took to him earlier this year. You never hear a coach do that, like, on the record. That's crazy.
Sean Payton's been talking a lot, by the way.
He does.
Like, he's been yapping and yapping and yapping. His team's 0-2. He's been yapping a lot, and he yapped a lot about Tua. I know we'll get to it. He yapped a lot about Tua last year. Claimed Teddy Bridgewater by week 3 would replace Tua Tagovailoa, and then he wanted to backtrack those comments a couple months later when Tua was looking like an MVP.
It's kind of strange that he wouldn't be into Tua because, like, a lot of people have, like, said, oh, he's got a lot of Drew Brees like qualities. It's weird that he doesn't vibe with that.
He specifically, I remember, because he was on the Herd, I remember playing these clips where he, like, took issue with those comparisons, and he's like, Drew Brees was an athlete that nobody respected. He even mentioned that Drew Brees beat Andy Roddick in like youth tennis when they were like 13 years old or something. Like, he was really trying to put some respect on Drew Brees, which is weird. Everybody loves Drew Brees. Like, who doesn't love Drew Brees?
Such a strange thing.
Phillip Rivers.
Good point. And Nick Saban, of course.
Yeah.
So, like, he purposely went out of his way to like not compare them to each other, which I thought was very weird. It's his track record of Peyton throwing shade at Tua for no reason.
Yeah,
everybody throws shade at Tua.
Everybody did. Everybody did. But it was.
You got to tell me, what point was this? Was this Mike McDaniel? Yeah, it was. This
was last year.
Maybe his opinion was built off of Brian Flores' opinion. Because if you listen to the Brian Flores in that camp, Tua is going to be a bum.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things, though. But, like, I think that for him, I think the thing I find strange about it is, like, yeah, he is an offensive guy. Like, I don't know. I think with some of those guys, you would think you would know, I guess, the talent that he had, but it's, listen, he only had one man that needed to believe in him, and it was Mike McDaniel.
I wonder if Sean Payton wouldn't be good if he didn't have Drew Brees. We don't really have a sample size of Teddy Bridgewater was the sample size.
Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater was decent under him.
See, okay, maybe this is a injection of Teddy Bridgewater belief.
It could have been. I had forgotten about that Teddy Bridgewater started for him and looked good for him too. Could have just been him kind of caping up for his guy.
Interesting.
Either way, Teddy Bridgewater took one snap week 5 in New York and was gone.
Yeah, spotter. He's out. Still don't know what that guy where that guy is. Here's a little bit more from Fangs. Just saying, like, this is more of a storyline. It's not as much of a storyline as you guys think it is.
Not at all. It's if you get too worked up in that stuff, you'll just get twisted. You just treat it like any other game. Do the things you think you have to do to win schematically, and you go at it. Those storylines, they're juicy, but they're not as effective as you think they are.
I think he's a liar.
I like it.
There we go, Omar.
There we go.
You don't think Bradley Chubb's juiced up for this game?
I think he definitely is. And by the way, big performance by him last week. I want some big plays from Bradley Chubb. There he was, forcing fumbles, getting big sacks.
I go back to the. I'm not a huge. I'll be honest. I'm not a huge Bradley Chubb guy. Just because you pay somebody $100 million, you damn sure better expect some impact plays, which is part of the reason why I'm not interested in paying Christian Wilkins $100 million. But Bradley Chubb followed through with the Joey Porter ratio of big plays. I remember when I was a young Cub reporter and I was talking to Joey Porter, and Joey Porter broke it down to me, and he said, basically, in my job, all I need is 3 wins a game. 3 wins a game, and I'm going to the Pro Bowl. Like, because you get a lot of stalemates at that position, but you need 3 clear-cut victories in terms of sacks, QB hits, pressures, forced fumbles, fumble recoveries, impact plays, third down stop, deflected pass. You make 3, you're going to the Pro Bowl at that position.
Yeah.
And Nick Chubb did that. So did Andrew Van Ginkel.
Oh, Ginkel, dude.
Gink, yeah.
Wow. He was amazing.
Listen, I don't know who thought. I say this. Gink's wife is the only person who thought he had that in him.
That was insane. He was so good. You didn't even like to not have Jalen Phillips, who everybody's been like throwing out the red carpet for coming into the season, and Von Ginks is like, hold my beer, and we talked about just guys who have to wreak havoc. That guy just nothing but havoc on the field this past weekend.
He has always been a guy who is around the ball. He's always around the ball. The ball finds him. Christian Wilkins basically said he's got a horseshoe in his butt, just because he's just lucky like that. And man, I don't believe that anymore. That guy makes things happen.
He's everywhere.
He's literally everywhere.
He was everywhere.
He's like, where's Waldo? He's in every picture of every play, and you're like, damn, where'd he come from?
Classic NFTF, dude. Knows for the football.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, you and your acronyms.
I'm telling you, that's what it is. He leads the league in NFTF.
NFTF.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Put that one down.
I thought you were selling me like a stock or something.
I'm telling you right now, dude. Knows for the football. That's Andrew Von Ginkel.
Can we change it up though for Van Ginks?
Mm-hmm.
Hair for the football? Because the hair is so good,
luscious.
Yeah,
It's
hair
just-
for the
it's-
football.
yeah,
Do you really think it's luscious?
Yeah. Dude.
Oh yeah, I forgot you had the man bun.
Yeah, I had the man bun for a little.
He's got more than a man bun though. It's just like it's like Viking hair.
Yeah, because he can do the bun, and it's not even a man bun. He can just do a bun, but he can also just let it
flow.
Yeah,
Let it flow. But there's like a just a ruggedness to it, more than like Trevor Lawrence, who's got like that pretty 2 blow dryer hair.
He's a little pretty for me. He needs a beardish. He needs a beard.
Von Ginks?
Yeah.
Really?
I don't think he can grow it though.
He probably can't.
I don't think
I'm going to ask that question.
Sealer, if he wanted to, can grow out like that thick.
Oh yeah,
beard.
he's got it.
Man.
Yeah,
it's a full manly beard.
Yeah.
Ginks is he's got like a little patch work going on. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
He's follically challenged from the beard.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
From his standpoint though, and the Dolphins defense, Omar, we had it was not a great performance week 1. Do you feel like, even though you're going up against Mac Jones, do you feel like do they prove more to you this past week?
No.
Really? Okay.
No.
Just because of who they're going up against?
Tell me what's the number 1 weapon the Patriots have? Okay, thank you.
The special teams.
I said, I'm sorry. What's the number 1 offense? Yeah, their special teams coach is their number 1 weapon. What is
Jason Sanders is their number 1 weapon.
They didn't do nothing.
The number 1 offensive weapon was Eli Apple.
I like when Mike Gesicki, your number 1 weapon. Like, what is their number 1 weapon? They got nothing over there.
So still a lot to prove.
Yeah, man. Do it this week. Do it this week with Jared Judy and Sutton and who's their tight end? I don't even know their tight end. Adam Trotman. Like, do it this week. Show me something this week. It's Javonte Williams and Saraji Perine. Clamp down that run and make them one-dimensional, make them throw. And don't let Russell beat you over the top. So do you remember the last time you played Russell Wilson?
2020?
That was the Noah Ibnogany game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Noah gave up 2.
I was about to get a lot busier because Trayvon Diggs done for the season.
Yeah. Oh, damn. I never thought about that. Yeah. What if Noah goes out there and balls?
Well, that's what I fully expect. I like.
Oh, is that what you?
I am expecting it. Like he's going.
Are you really expecting? Hold on, wait. I gotta look you in your eye.
Mm-hmm.
Are you really expecting Noah to go out there and ball?
Not because I believe Noah Benogany is a great player, but simply as a Dolphins fan, knowing what happens when Dolphins players leave this organization after underachieving here, they go elsewhere, typically big organizations like the Cowboys, and they become Pro Bowlers.
I mean, he is going to a really good defense, and maybe the scariest defender in the league is on that team. So that helps. I mean, Micah Parsons is like flossing his teeth with quarterbacks right now.
Zach Wilson is still
my
shook.
God. No, I don't blame him though. I mean, how could you not be shook with Micah Parsons just bearing down on you?
I was wrong on that guy. I would admit that.
Oof.
I just didn't see anything special about him, but then I didn't get to see him play his, because he opted out just like Javon Holland his senior season. COVID year just throws everything out of whack. But yeah, he's a freak of nature.
We'll take a quick break here on Game Day Uncensored. Tua putting some lofty stuff out there for the Dolph fan. We'll get to that coming up on Game Day Uncensored right after this.
You're listening to the exclusive
comfortable, where we can kick back and be ourselves. The Dolphins are home today, facing the Broncos. The Finns can be themselves today. Mighty, exciting, victorious, just like they were the last 2 weeks. But as it always is in the NFL, it ain't gonna be easy today versus Denver. Coach McDaniel knows that.
2-0 means you have 2 wins. So what does that mean? That means nothing to me. So we did our jobs and we won the game, which is what we're trying to do each and every game. That's a checkbox. That's not a high five.
Tua knows that.
They present a lot of challenges. You got to understand where those blitzers are coming from. You got to understand where you want to protect them. We got to figure out, how we want to attack them in that sense.
But a packed stadium filled with the screaming faithful will certainly help. Big day, big game, big show. Time for Game Day. Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans on AM 560 Sports, WQAM, FM 99.9 HD2, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Game Day Uncensored is sponsored by South Florida Lexus Dealers. Experience amazing by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka on game day? Pour me in, coach. Ed Morse Sawgrass Buick GMC is a proud partner of the Miami Dolphins. Remember, you're always backed by Morse. By JM Lexus. At JM Lexus, you'll always get the home team advantage. And by Williamson Automotive. Williamson is Miami.
Welcome back into Game Day Uncensored here on 560 WQM. Tobin here with you alongside Omar Kelly and Alejandro Solana. Hour 2, getting you ready for the Miami Dolphins home opener. Everybody get in there. It's tailgate time right now. Throw us on up. We got the video feed up right now. You guys can hit us youtube.com/Miami560WQAM is where you guys can find us. Get in on the chat. We'll take some of your questions and comments later on in the program as your Miami Dolphins getting ready for the Denver Broncos. 6.5-point favorites today. Your Miami Dolphins at home.
6. You feeling comfortable about that?
Yes.
That number?
Yes.
Yeah.
To cover?
Yeah.
You got a touchdown?
Yeah, dude. I think they do. I think they cover.
Boy, Vegas just put you in some uncomfortable positions.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a toughie.
Yeah.
I'm feeling comfortable about the win, but 6, a touchdown?
I'm not worried about it. Something tells me today, showcase day, boys.
Ooh, showcase
day.
without Waddle.
Yeah, dude. There's just something. This team is just going out there. It doesn't matter. Like, that's the thing that's really impressed me is, like, the injuries. They've had guys step up. We talked about Von Ginkel. You've been, praising Kendall Lamb in this offensive line. Do you think we get Toronto back today? Like, it sounded like Armstead and Phillips were both saying they're ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Phillips, he looks fine, but is he moving fine? I think that was just a really weird tweak situation for him. It might impact his play and performance a little bit, but you got Gink.
Oh, the Ginks.
In terms of Tehran, I think Tehran's a green light. I said Flores. Mike McDaniel basically said, if he does not give me a red light up until game day, he's got the green light. And Tehran ain't giving you no red light.
When he had that injury in preseason,
yeah.
If I would have told you he'll be back week 3, I think it would have made sense to everybody.
That's
right?
a month.
Yeah, would have made sense.
I mean, the way it looked like a knee, not an ankle. So thank God. Now it is on the leg. What makes me uncomfortable about Armstead's injury and Armstead's situation is and Alejandro, because you've broken so many things.
Thanks, Omar.
Because you still think you're young and you could play basketball.
You're right.
I went out there. Funny enough, I went out there with my daughter and my daughter and my wife. Yeah, that thing. I forgot about her. And I was on a basketball court with her and with my daughter who wanted to play basketball. Obviously, she can't play basketball. My wife was like, "Oh, if you stay and you want to play with the guys there because the guys are playing, you could go ahead." And I was just like, "Yeah, play basketball? Are you kidding me? Like, and injure something? No, thank you."
I tear something just looking at a basketball court these days. Like, I'm good.
No, basketball is a game for the young. And unfortunately, you don't learn that until you get about 28 when your youth expires.
So do you think though with Armstead coming back, Kendall Lamb is going to go to the bench? Is that how this is going to work?
Yeah,
And
yeah. I put Kendall Lamb's situation fly. You guys Seinfeld guys?
Yes.
Okay. Costanza and leaving on a high note. It's like, all right, I want the crowd. I'm out. All right, just walk away. And I love Kendall Lamb. I love his mentality. I love who he is as a player. Everybody on that line knows. Well, not everybody. Austin Jackson knows. Don't slip up, dude. Don't get caught slipping, because Kendall Lamb is there waiting in the wings. He's not as good as a right tackle as he is a left tackle. I'm not even going to front with you guys. Like, I've watched him very closely. He used to interchange in training camp, go from left to right every day. And the right never looked as good as the left, because left is his natural position. So don't expect him to like challenge. But Austin Jackson's fine. Sack last week. Okay, it happens.
Yeah, that wasn't. I didn't even feel like that was a bad give up, because that was just a great move by Judon. You know, he got him initially, and like he's funny. They've done amazing. I mean, look, I know Tua gets the ball out very quickly.
Don't put that as an excuse.
But,
Tua's always gotten the ball out quick.
But they've done a great job, Omar. I mean, like I cannot imagine a season that's got off to a start like this with this O line and being like, wow, I actually feel confident with them every single week.
I tell you, I've watched you guys know I love and obsess about line play. Since training camp, I've watched them very closely. They got baby unicorns in them. They're coached by Butch Barry, who obviously this is an interesting game for him.
It is,
because the Denver Broncos, boy, they danced on his grave when he got fired the day after Hackett got fired. They basically outed him as a bad coach, bad communicator, and his style is not meant for everybody. It's an old school, aggressive, gruff, in your face style. This generation, Alejandro, your peers, you guys can't handle that kind of coaching. It's just this generation of players, and I put it from Jarvis Landry on, which was 2014. That's the Instagram, social media generation of players.
Checking everything.
They can't handle criticism at all. Not a drop of it. And so if you're a coach and everybody's had to adapt the Mike McDaniel, you're my guy, I love you. You know,
like how
hey,
you say it like
it's
that.
just two of.
I don't think he walks around like
it's just 2 of 26 bad snaps. Like that's just the era of players that we're dealing with, and you can't criticize them. And Butch Barry has a very critical, in-your-face, gruff, aggressive style that a lot of people aren't fans of.
Yeah,
in Denver.
Like when you're asking guys, I don't know if you can be friendly or offensive line coach. Like I don't feel like that works, because you have to protect from 300-pound monsters.
That's a very good point. I never thought about it that way, but that is a very good point. You cannot necessarily be huggy and kissy friendly offensive line coach.
I would have liked to know what those rooms are like with Mike McDaniel as the O-line coach, when he's just like trying to carve out with it. He goes, you know, guys, like don't worry about those 4 sacks you gave up. It's just 4 of 60, you know, don't worry.
Yeah.
And then like the first is looking at him and he goes, huh? It's, it's big picture. It's big picture, Chris. That's how we got to look at it. Speaking of big picture, this was Mike McDaniel on the team's 2-0 start, and not getting overconfident with it. Here's the Dolphins head coach.
Well, it's easier for me because I'm very, very literal with 2-0. So 2-0 means you have 2 wins. So what does that mean? That means nothing to me.
Means nothing.
When you're proactive, and I talked to the team at length about this in April. What's going to happen when you win? What's going to happen when you win a couple in a row? You expect probable positivity. If you're 2-0, that's all that means. There's no level of high. So we did our jobs and we won the game, which is what we're trying to do each and every game. That's a checkbox. That's not a high five, So I think that's a very important part of it, to understand the journey, to understand really what are you trying to do. No one signed up to have a stellar road 2-game win streak. All right, we're good, guys. Let me go get the lawn chair. And what are those mirrors for like tanning? And get my oils and let's go chill.
I don't know. I haven't seen those in a while. Like I used to see those the old people down on Deerfield Beach with those. They'd sit on the back grass, but they'd have the reflectors. They didn't want to get too close to the ocean, but they still wanted that sun.
The sun is your enemy. They've learned. They figured it out.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen somebody use one of those in person.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, dude. Deerfield Beach back in the day.
That's like I thought that was only in like The Sopranos or whatever, where Paulie Gutierrez
The sun catcher.
He's holding out. He's got the hamburger meat out, and he's using the little what is that even called? Like a tanning mirror? Is that what it's called?
I don't know. I don't know what do you know what the term for it, Vlad?
A reflector.
Sun catcher.
A sun catcher.
Sun catcher.
A sun catcher.
How would you know, Vlad? Like, what you know about sun catchers?
I'm natural.
But I think my favorite other line is that it's a check mark. It's not a high five. I like that. It's like, let's get you crazy. We just moved on. Next thing. There are a lot of people blowing smoke up the Dolphins. You know what now?
And after they go 3-0, there's going to be the nation's going to be blowing smoke.
Yep.
And then they're going to be setting you up for that big old Buffalo game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you know what they want to do? They want to knock you down. So you got to take care of business. Otherwise, they're going to knock you down. Trust me, they win today, and I fully expect them to win today. The nation is going to be talking about the Miami Dolphins just setting you up.
Oh, man. But it's so fun right now. It is fun.
You just like people talking about it.
I do. This is great fun. It is great fun.
We haven't had that in a while.
Yeah,
Omar?
I mean, you haven't. I guess you take for granted the fact that your offense doesn't stink, and you've got the number one offense in the NFL.
I watched Thursday Night Football, right? And I watched Daniel Jones have 1 second to throw the ball, and he can't look farther than 7 to 8 yards down the field because he just doesn't have the time to. And I thought to myself, man, I love Tua Tagovailoa, and I love Mike McDaniel, and I love this Dolphins team right now because I watched what Daniel Jones, and I'm not hating on Daniel Jones, but I watched that
$40
for
million quarterback.
years here with Ryan Tannehill. And I watched it with Jay Fiedler, and I watched it with how many quarterbacks down here where your offense just was abysmal. You never felt confident in your offense.
Hey,
and that's
Chad
no longer
Pennington
the case.
and Ryan Fitzpatrick. Oh, no, I triggered him. I did it. My fault. My fault. My bad.
Nobody. You guys see this past week on Thursday Night Football? Did you see the big viral thing after the game?
Captain Andrew Luck.
Captain Andrew Luck showing up.
So good.
Nobody hated that more than Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Oh, it took all the attention away from him.
Oh, you're being wacky quarterback guy. That's my thing, Andrew Luck. Hated it, dude.
Hold on.
He hated it.
I got to up.
Oh, thank you. Oh, there we go.
Listen, shows without Fitzpatrick slander. One, no.
Wipe that clean for me, if you will. Had to get that in.
Listen,
you're taking my funny guy bit, Andrew Luck. Imagine if Andrew Luck actually wanted Fitzpatrick's job, a good quarterback. But
wow.
That voice breaking it down. Man, I would love that. Replace Andrew Luck on Thursday Night Football. Replace Fitzpatrick with Andrew Luck. I'm telling you right now, that's a hit show. That's a hit show right there.
Fitzpatrick is entertaining, sir.
Is he?
It's on every commercial now, too.
Yeah, the commercials going a little far for me.
Mm-hmm.
We'll take a quick break. More to get into here on Game Day Uncensored. Back after this.
You're listening to the exclusive home of Miami
Sports WQAM, FM 99.9 HD2, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Sponsored by South Florida Lexus dealers, Tito's Handmade Vodka, Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac, JM Lexus, and Williamson Automotive.
Welcome back in, everybody. Game Day Uncensored here on 560 WQAM. Getting you ready. Miami Dolphins home opener against the Denver Broncos. 1 o'clock kickoff from Hard Rock Stadium.
It rained earlier. It was it's going to be a sauna today.
Steamy day for the Denver Broncos.
What we need is a rain right about noon.
Yep.
Right about noon, and then the turf will be slick. The steam will come up. It'll be a sauna up in Hard Rock.
Sean Payton seems like he's ripe for a heat excuse. You know, I could see him doing that. He seems like he's jotting them down as he goes to Solana. Like, what can I use as an excuse after this game?
Heat.
I got it. Yeah, heat seems like a good way to go. By the way, it's been announced this morning. Usher, Super Bowl halftime show.
Let it burn. Hold on, we're going to start with the house usher? Is that what we're doing?
That's all we got.
That's all we got?
That's all we got?
That's all we got?
Is this DJ got us falling in love? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he's got to play the house stuff. I mean, he has. Understand, Usher's been around since I was in like my teens. So
like late 90s.
Yeah, late 90s. He's got a huge catalog.
Yeah, I threw this in there. You remind me.
He's got he's got a ton of hits. I think it wasn't a rumor this week that it was going to be NSYNC.
It was, because remember Justin Timberlake took that picture and everybody was like, "Uh-oh, NSYNC is coming back."
Well, no,
come on, they don't have enough hits for a Super Bowl.
Oh, dude.
Bro.
I'm gonna tell you something right now. Since the VMAs last week, my wife has been doing nothing but like, listen, if they're on tour, we're getting tickets. I don't care.
Yeah,
she's trying to relive her youth. What's
yeah,
going on
relive her youth. I got her, and then the daughter's trying to hit me up for Taylor Swift tickets next October. I'm like, listen,
Good
you
luck.
guys can go. See ya.
I don't know what Taylor Swift.
How
tickets
good are your connects, Tobin? Because
not good enough that I want to pull that many strings and be like, how about you go watch it at an AMC, because they're putting Taylor Swift's concert in movie theaters.
Just go stand outside the stadium, because
People have been doing that
apparently that's
too.
what people do.
That's what people have been doing, dude. But one person who is looking for a big show and wants to see Usher, Tua. And this was Tua this week, talking about the lofty goals this season of the Miami Dolphins. And this is what he had to say on that.
Yeah, I think it gives all of us on this team a lot of pride. We feel that the city of Miami has been waiting, and they're ready, for a championship. You look at the Heat, you look at the Panthers, the Florida Panthers. I mean, all those guys were able to, to make it to the final dance, and they were able to do special things throughout their seasons. And so, we're kind of trying to trot along that line and sort of follow the lead of those guys.
I love that. I love that so much from him. That's a man who has the sense of the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, when we were talking about this year, what are the expectations of this team and all the money that they've put into it? And you've watched this just incredible run we're on right now here in South Florida sports, where like all these seasons have been so much fun. Improbable seasons where like the Heat, they're beating one seed, they're getting to the finals. The Panthers, they're beating the best regular season team of all time. FAU, Canes, Final Fours. Messi's here, dude. I mean, the Marlins are even in a playoff race here late. That man having a sense of what it would mean for this city to get the championship. Oh, I love that this week from Tua.
He has always been talking about championships. He's always been talking. I mean, this is consistent who he is. He does not shy away from saying Super Bowl. That's the goal. That's what we're shooting for. Like anything that falls short of, they talk about playing in December. And I'm not saying I'm ready to start believing, but I could tell you they're fully committed. They are absolutely, without a doubt, fully committed. And I think it could factor in how they move and operate before the trade deadline.
It's the way you want your starting quarterback, your franchise quarterback, to talk. Like
he believes he's that dude.
He
should though. I mean, that's the way they talked at Alabama, right, Tobin? Like,
but that's
the national championship.
That's the thing, though, is like he introduced us all. We all got introduced to Tua on the biggest stage ever. We all were like, how do we pronounce this guy's name who won Alabama the championship? Who just came in out of boom, slinging bombs to go win them the title. Of course, this guy's been more that than he has been the guy who was going through all the adversity, and the guys who's down. Most of the time, this guy has been people kissing my ass, throwing those because I have been that dude. And if you're honing in on that now, and you have the weapons and you have everything around you, of course you should talk about that. And I do love that because you know what? A lot of quarterbacks will be robotic. A lot of it's next week. We got to move on to this. And even Mike McDaniel's trying to do that, you know. But if Tua's going to be talking about this all week, I'm all for it, man. I'm all for it.
They've got the roster, though, right? On paper. Before the season, all we talked about was on paper, this roster is one of the best rosters in the NFL. Just had to come to fruition on the field, and health is a major factor. Why wouldn't you want your quarterback setting that precedent of just mental precedent? Yeah, we're trying to win a damn Super Bowl. Like, if not, then what the hell else are we playing for? I know the expectations, Omar, are one playoff win. I get it. I understand that. But that's not how I want my quarterback to approach it. Like, I want my quarterback to stand up there in front of a microphone and say, yeah, I'm trying to win a damn Super Bowl.
I will have an answer for you after I see how they perform against Buffalo.
That's where your mark is? That's the measuring
my
stick
initial
game?
mark is really the Chiefs, and I don't expect them to beat the Chiefs, but I want to see how they play that game against the Chiefs. But Buffalo, I mean, if you can go in there and beat Buffalo, AFC East belongs to you.
For sure.
And if you can do that, then you could probably get to the big dance and the showdown with the Chiefs, because I don't really see anybody else challenging you in the AFC right now.
Chiefs don't even look. I mean, I know it's
calm
the Chiefs.
Calm down.
I know.
Calm down.
I know.
You gotta give them the respect.
I'm not.
They're
still
evolving.
But the Dolphins have looked better than Kansas City.
Yeah.
In the first 2 weeks.
Okay. Yeah. All right. But Dolphins are picking up where they left off, where the Chiefs are building something new. That weaponry there is, the start of the season without Travis Kelce. Like, you try to start the season without Tyreek Hill and see how well things go for you.
And Chris Jones. Having Chris Jones on the whole lot too.
So,
like, no, I agree.
Yeah, like, you don't have two of your top three players on your team.
If you go, when they got to go to Germany, that's kind of weird. I mean, I really,
it is
strange.
weird.
I wish it was at Arrowhead, because I think, Tyreek was talking about that matchup, but whatever, it is what it is. But I'm with you. I think that, especially with what happened with the Jets losing Aaron Rodgers, you already proven yourself against the Patriots. Tua owns Bill Belichick. He's undefeated now. But that Bills game is going to be huge, because it was a very, very, after the Bills being your daddy and just not even competitive for a few years there in a row, every game last year was competitive, with Tua, without Tua. It came down to the wire. You have Ken Dorsey freaking out here. Bills fans literally blaming the sun at every breath. Ooh, it's so hot here. I'm like, oh, really? That changed? Crazy. It's like they just learned where the games were.
Where were they? They were all packed up at the elbow room on Saturday before the game. Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, the Bills Mafia takeover. We're going to go back to New York with a dub.
Yeah.
They were pissed about that loss, man. They were shook after that week 3 loss or week 2 loss.
But I do think, look, these have been 2 close games for the Dolphins. They've come up clutch. They've had some they've been able to pull them out. It would be nice. Like, I do think that we all look at this. Vegas has this as a touchdown spread, basically. It would be nice for the Dolphins to come out here and show that they're just better in every facet. You have the better quarterback, you have the better offense, you have the better coach, you have the defense that looks like it's tuning in on things. You got a fully healthy defense outside of Jalen Ramsey right now. And I know you don't have Jalen Waddle, but I think that you've shown they have an ability to get the ball to everybody. Tua is not afraid to spread that ball around. So, yes, while next week's going to be a huge showcase in a measure stick, I think today is like one of those TCB games. You go out there, you take care of business, and get yourself to 3-0. If you are that team and you have those lofty expectations.
That's how I feel. If you are legit.
Are we looking ahead of Denver? Is that
trying not to.
Is that what we're doing?
Because I thought we were, and then I was like,
what we doing?
I was trying to rein it back in.
Yeah, I feel like we're trying to look ahead of
you
Denver.
Said about that Buffalo game, and I got really excited about that game.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but you got to take care of business.
Right. I'm not looking ahead. I'm saying if you are that team, if you are that team that I think they can be.
Okay, I'll take the blame.
Then
I did bring it up. I did bring it up 1 week at a time.
You don't lose when you're 2-0 with an 0-2 team coming to your home opener.
True.
You don't lose this game.
I feel like that crowd's gonna be really juiced up today, man.
Yeah, they are, because they know they're going to be looking at for a big product. I mean, they're looking at a offensive. They're super excited because they didn't even have preseason games. They had one preseason game.
Looking for their fix. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, this is the ticket in town right now. The you know, and arguably, and I'm trying to be considerate here, and I'm not looking ahead of Denver, but of all those teams that made it to the championship here in South Florida, this is the better team of them all. They have stacked. They have number one offense. They've got a really good coach. They have the highest paid defense coordinator in the
I see
NFL.
what you're saying. Yeah. From a standpoint of you have like nobody questions this team's talent.
Yeah.
Whereas like the Heat and Panthers were kind of surprises.
Yeah, absolutely. They came out of nowhere. And did their thing and got to the highest level, but they're the Heat are really well coached.
Of course.
But this Dolphins, and what I like about what I see from this Dolphins team is they're still building on things. Whereas with Brian Flores, you knew what it was and you knew what they were going to do. This team is continuing to evolve, especially offensively. The first 2 weeks, they've shown you completely understand. I've watched every practice of training camp and exhibition season, and I'm seeing in the first 2 games, I'm seeing things that I haven't seen. And I'm still waiting for the things that I saw that I was like, whoa, that's going to work.
I know we kind of gave our takeaways from Sunday Night Football in the first segment of the show, but to me, that was also impressive just looking from week 1 to week 2, like finding different ways to move the football, finding different packages to get Tyreek in space, but then have Tyreek as a decoy and be able to incorporate Braxton and Craycraft. And then, running the football, because it's not that Mostert couldn't move the ball on the ground in week 1. The Dolphins just kind of went away from it because they had to, right? They needed the passing game. They needed to get back into the game. They needed to win the game. But then, 2 separate games, your defense comes up with big stops. You win the field position battle. And on the first play of that drive in week 1, it's the 40-whatever yard pass to Tyreek Hill over the top for his first touchdown. In week 2, your passing game had kind of been stopped a little bit in that second half. First play after winning field position battle. Again, big stop by the defense. And it's Mostert, where they were going option or RPO one way the entire time. And then on that specific run, they go left and he busts through the hole for a 40-something yard touchdown.
Yeah, and Robert Hunt on a great pull and Connor Williams on a great seal. It was and more importantly, Alec Ingold on a blindside block of Matt Judon. Probably gonna cost him $14,000, but listen, he's a fullback, but a fullback that could block the team's best pass rusher. Like you guys know, I'm a huge Alec Ingold fan.
Listen, you leave that whatever the fine is, everybody leaving that cash right out of his locker.
Yeah, I mean it's impressive to see a fullback who could block your best pass rusher like one-on-one, and then have a tight end who could do it too. Like those are plays where literally, and I'm not even going to bring up Mike Gesicki. I'm not even bring up the whole stuff.
No, but this is what they want. This is what they want from their guys.
They have a fullback and a tight end who could block a team's best pass rusher without any help. Think of
that's very impressive.
Think about that. Think about all the capabilities and potential for your offense and how you can get guys like Robert Hunt and Connor Williams on the second level to pull when you say, okay, that guy might be coming. All right, Alec, you get him. Or Alec Durham, you get him. Or put him in motion. The offense is evolving incredibly well. And they have, remember in the preseason where I was telling you, everybody was like, oh, the offense is starting to suck. It's looking a little bit. And I was like, calm down. They're clearly experimenting with things and seeing what works. They're throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks. And I saw it because 1 week they'd be like, okay, let's see what we can do with the tight ends. Okay, let's try this. Let's try that. Let's try this. And I was like, oh, okay. They're experimenting. And then when you take the experimentation, these games count, and they're sitting up here crafting game plans for these opponents. And then they're very team specific. Like I expect them to go with their nickel cornerback today. So you're going to see Braxton Berrios. You're going to see Jalen Waddle. Like Tua's keys, people have to understand in this offense, Tua reads one player. And based on what that one player does, he has either or, and that's part of the RPO which they've implemented into their West Coast offense. So Tua's gonna key on that line, that nickel cornerback. His name is Damari Mathis. He's terrible, and based on what he does and what the safety does, Tua's gonna go, Okay, either or, bam, it's out. And it's a beautiful thing to watch.
We'll take a quick break here on Game Day Uncensored. Check it with our guy whose boots on the ground right now, Dan Day on the other side. Plus, Raheem Mostert, big show out on Sunday Night Football. Has he put all the doubters, the silence on the Dolphins shopping for a star running back to bed? We'll get to more on Game Day Uncensored right after this.
Listen to Messi and Inter Miami games here.
The whistle sounds. Messi approaches. He goes for
Welcome back. Game Day Uncensored here on 560 WQAM. As we are taking you guys up until kickoff, Miami Dolphins are taking on the Denver Broncos, the home opener live at Hard Rock Stadium. As the Dolphins will look to go to 3-0 here to start this season after a nice win on Sunday Night Football, getting it taken care of there against the Patriots. And we knew that thriller in game in week 1 against the Chargers, who also kind of a big game today against the Vikings. I mean, that feels like a hot seat game, like you have the Vikings at 0-2, you have the Chargers at 0-2. Staley, I mean, did you hear Staley after the last game? That dude was lashing out. He's he is on edge with all
feels a pressure, man.
Little frosty, it's something going on there. Let's head out here for a couple minutes to the to Hard Rock Stadium and our guy who's boots on the ground, Dan Day. Hello, Dan.
No one is worried about Jalen Waddle. They say we've got enough firepower to make it through today. That is the consensus as I have been walking around all of the stadium and everyone that I talked to. They said if they want to put 3 safeties out there, we have Raheem Mostert, we have Tua Tagovailoa, we have Mike McDaniel, Vic Fangio. We got enough firepower. We're okay. So no one is pushing the panic button right now because Jalen Waddle.
What is the vibe right now, Dan? I know it's very early right now at the stadium, but what is the tailgating situation? What is it looking like out there?
I'm glad you bring up early because I got here early thinking that, we've heard about all the parking, we've heard about all this. Seems like everyone has heeded the message. I got here at 9 thinking the gates were going to open at 9. There was people already set up, ready to go. So apparently maybe they've been opening the gates a little early. Dolphins fans have come out early, and they have gotten ready early, and they are really getting crazy and wild. There are a few Broncos fans, but for the most part, I'm telling you, these Miami fans were out here early. Like I said, 9 o'clock walking up. They were already set up. They were already having the music playing, getting it going. So I was very proud of the Dolphins fans right now.
Is it what's the weather looking out there right now, Dan? Is it a little overcast? Is it steamy? Can you give us a temperature check? What do we got going on right now?
Both that. It is overcast and steamy. Walking to the stadium, I was enjoying a nice cold beverage to try to cool myself off, and it did not do anything. It is steamy. It is hot, but now it's starting to get a little bit overcast. Not much of a breeze, though.
Hold on, Dan. Aren't you on the job right now? You're drinking on the job? Yeah. Is that what you're doing?
Omar, tell him cold beverage doesn't mean it has to be a beer or an alcoholic beverage. It's just a beverage. It's something cold and nice.
Dan, we also know you. we know you.
Oh, wait a second. My reputation precedes me. No, but I'll tell you this. It is muggy. It is overcast, though, right now. But I'm telling you right now, even as a Miami guy, everything, it is going to be hot. Those Dolphins are going to be okay. Denver Broncos, let me tell you, you live in that high desert with the cool, crisp air. This is going to be something for them. So I'm hoping that it kind of wears them out a little bit.
All right, Dan, we'll check in with you a little bit later on the show once we get a little bit check in on the roster.
Dr. Toboggan says you were drinking some cucumber water.
Yeah,
so he makes a nice excuse for you, Dan.
A little bit of cucumber water, a little bit of celery water. I'm trying to stay healthy, get the cleanse going right there. But I'm telling you, no panic about Jalen Waddle out here, at least as far as the fans are concerned. I'll tell you that much.
Very nice, Dan Day. Boots on the ground there. Thank you, Dan. Take care. We'll talk to you a little bit later on in the show. Dan Day, he is trying to stay cool, but I don't know. Yeah, I think the fans right now, even with Jalen Waddle being out, I think that they believe in what this offense is. I think that you still have a lot of speed with Raheem Mostert. Man, he was awesome that last Sunday.
Not just Raheem Mostert. You got a lot of and Raheem talked about. I don't know if we have that clip where now Tyreek has the fastest clock time and speed in the NFL this season, which obviously doesn't surprise anybody. He's got the fastest 2 times, and Raheem Mostert finished with the second fastest time. And truth be told, on that touchdown run, he eased up on it at the end. And so he's like, basically, I went easy on Tyreek because I knew if I took the number 1 spot, Tyreek wouldn't be satisfied. He'd never let me live it down. And Tyreek is that's the one thing I have noticed about Tyreek. He's driven by challenges, competition. You make anything a competition, it's like, oh, you have the cheetah's attention now. And all great players are like that. So I'm interested to see what comes of that. Also, one thing that should excite him about today's game is the match with Pat Surtain III. And he is arguably the best cornerback in the NFL right now. That he has the respect of his peers. I'm curious to see if the Denver Broncos are going to let Pat Surtain shadow Tyreek. Obviously, that would be a challenge that Pat Surtain would want. Would it be wise? Probably not, but he probably wants it. I think the best approach, knowing Vance Joseph, is you have the ordinary cornerback cover Tyreek. You don't have anybody shadow him, and then you just put a safety over the top of him everywhere he goes.
It's going to be an interesting one, but from Mostert's standpoint, we talked so much, Omar, this preseason about the Dolphins. There were rumors about basically everybody, Dalvin Cook,
Yes.
Jonathan Taylor,
You're
everybody.
correct, everybody.
Do you think he's put an end to all that? Even if these Jonathan Taylor talks flare up again, do you think that he is he's silenced the noise on anybody taking that gig?
I don't think it was ever about replacing him. I think it was always about making that unit better and fortifying the depth. I don't think the talks are ending. I don't think if I'm going to look at a unit that needs to improve, it'd probably be the running back position, and which is why this is a major showcase for Devon Achane. With Savon Ahmed down with the groin injury, this is your job, Devon, and you've got 2 weeks before Jeff Wilson gets back, and we figure out what we have there. And the truth of the matter is, how those two perform probably within the next month will determine what happens with that backfield position and how interested the Dolphins are in Jonathan Taylor.
It's are you still into the vibe of the Dolphins going and getting a star back there?
I genuinely believed when we were talking about this in the preseason, I genuinely believed the Dolphins offense needed to go out and add, whether it was Jonathan Taylor or even Dalvin Cook for the right price to really make them a Super Bowl contender. And, maybe I'm just living in the moment here, which is very fair because Raheem Mostert had such a great game. Arguably, it was the best player for the Dolphins in that win on Sunday Night Football. But, I don't feel that way anymore. But I do see what you're saying, right? Depth-wise.
Let me ask you this question. I get what you're saying, and you should – I never not believed in Raheem Mostert. I just know that you have to fortify that unit in order to be the team that you want to be, which is a Super Bowl team. And I'm still on the fence on that one. What if I told you Raheem Mostert's history says he's not going to last 17 games?
Yeah, that's always been a knock on him, right? Injury, and which is also why it's so surprising. He's 30 years old or over 30 years old.
31.
And this is when he's, getting back to prime Raheem Mostert. That doesn't typically happen in the NFL.
And in his defense, and he said this all the time, I don't know if we have the clips for it, he didn't play his first 5 years because he was bouncing around from practice squad. He hasn't played for the first 5 years of his career. So really, while he might be a 31-year-old, he's probably age-wise, he's probably like a 27-year-old tailback.
This is Raheem Mostert early in the week. He's aware of all the teams that have gave up on him early.
Name the teams in order that have cut you.
Yeah, I could do that. Philly, Dolphins, Baltimore, Cleveland. Following year, Cleveland, Jets, Chicago, Niners, and now I'm here.
So Cleveland got 2 shots at you?
Well, Cleveland had me at the end of the year, and then started a roster with them, made the 53-man roster. Actually, that was the same day my wife had her bridal shower as I got cut. And so if you can only imagine that phone call that I had with her dad, because he was the one that was helping her event. And I'll never forget, I was sitting at the couch in our apartment and gave him that call, said, hey, man, look, I don't know how to tell you this, or I don't even want to tell the ladies, but, I just got cut by the Browns. And the first thing he said was, don't worry about it. We're gonna talk about this when the girls get done with the bridal shower, because that would have just ruined their day, So, but, yeah, we had that conversation, and that's actually the pivotal moment in my career when I asked my wife, on our couch, what should I do? Because I had just got cut by, several different teams prior to. And she asked me how much do I truly love football. And I told her, I played this sport since I was 7. And she was like, well, I don't see what's stopping you now. And that was a pivotal moment for me.
Man. Yeah.
That guy's been through a lot.
What's interesting is I covered him early in his tenure with Miami before he went on and played in San Francisco and really tore it up. I don't even remember him.
I don't remember him.
Yeah, I don't. I couldn't even. He was here for like a month. Don't remember him. And that was when they had a really stacked backfield too. That was during the Ajayi, Drake, the guy who quit on the team. I forget what his name for Houston.
Aaron Foster.
Aaron Foster.
Aaron
Yeah,
Foster.
that
he
was
had to go. He had to go fight wolves.
yeah, he just didn't have it in his heart anymore.
Can you
Play
believe
football.
Adam Gase started him week 1 and left Jay Ajayi in Miami?
That was the catalyst for Jay Ajayi, because Jay Ajayi, you know what left him? Let me give you a little bit of history lesson.
Yeah.
You know what got him left home? His arrogance. You know what got him traded? His arrogance.
Correct arrogance.
No, he had one good season in the NFL.
But like
and that was more a byproduct of the unicorns than it was Jay Ajayi.
He had a lot of yards after contact though. Like he was a monster. Those
Dude.
back-to-back 200-yard games.
Yeah, he had 4 200-yard games.
I mean, his punishment was I got traded to a Super Bowl team. So like I feel like he won the petty battle between Adam Gase.
Yeah, there were a lot of petty battles.
But then but like it was I mean, like he came in with the knee and the knee and like
degenerative knee.
It was gonna go. But with Mostert, this was Mike McDaniel earlier in the week and talking about like you just can't look at him like typical 31-year-olds. Well, McCoach.
Concern is
because he's loved him for
he's
a long time.
developed confidence, conviction. He's a little his vision's better. He's more decisive, and as you guys could see last night, but it was very evident at the end of the season last year. He is a hard tackle. You know, he pound for pound might be one of, if not the strongest person on the team, really. And he's just unique in that way. So I try to very much acknowledge when people live outside the curve and not just, because you don't want to be. I'd rather be the person that was like, yeah, see, I knew it. Because you just watch what he does on a daily basis and know how hungry he is and how much he wants to do what he does best, which is run the football.
Man, I like those guys though. They got that tandem together. They got a lot of love for each other.
Them and Jeff Wilson too. I mean, the history of Mike McDaniel is guys he's got familiarity with. Let's ride.
Yeah.
I hate to bring up the let's ride, but apologies.
You say it cooler than Russell Wilson, though.
Let's ride.
You definitely say it cooler than Russell Wilson.
Oh, man. We'll take a quick break here on Game Day Uncensored. Keep on rolling as we are getting ready for the Dolphins home opener. Back with more after this.
Hey, want to see the ugly mugs that
comfortable, but we can kick back and be ourselves. The Dolphins are home today, facing the Broncos. The Fins can be themselves today. Mighty, exciting, victorious, just like they were the last 2 weeks. But as it always is in the NFL, it ain't gonna be easy today versus Denver. Coach McDaniel knows that.
2-0 means you have 2 wins. So what does that mean? That means nothing to me. So we did our jobs and we won the game, which is what we're trying to do each and every game. That's a checkbox. That's not a high five.
Tua knows that.
They present a lot of challenges. You got to understand where those blitzers are coming from. You got to understand where you want to protect them. We got to figure out, how we want to attack them in that sense.
But a packed stadium filled with the screaming faithful will certainly help. Big day, big game, big show. Time for Game Day. Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans on AM 560 Sports, WQAM, FM 99.9 HD2, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Game Day Uncensored is sponsored by South Florida Lexus Dealers. Experience amazing by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka on game day? Pour me in, coach. Ed Morse Sawgrass Buick GMC is a proud partner of the Miami Dolphins. Remember, you're always backed by Morse. By JM Lexus. At JM Lexus, you'll always get the home team advantage. And by Williamson Automotive. Williamson is Miami.
All right, welcome back into Game Day Uncensored here on 560 WQAM. You guys can watch us. We are streaming live on YouTube and Twitch, the channel Miami 560 WQAM. You guys can also get those links on our Twitter pages. And also on the Odyssey app, AUDACY. You guys can listen to us, take us with you wherever you go. We are taking you up until the home opener, Miami Dolphins and Denver Broncos. They kick off at 1 o'clock from Hard Rock Stadium. We were all just marveling during the break at what is going on with Rex Ryan. His face is very red. It's beet red, and his teeth clearly veneers, very white, very like cartoonishly white.
New veneers.
Yeah,
like updated veneers.
Yeah, like he just got them done this week, and the hair is it's a crazy contrast that's going on there for the former Jets head coach. Wild. Solana, you were saying also during the break, let's get to a player to watch here, which is brought to us by our South Florida Lexus dealers. Experience amazing. Some of the touchdown odds that are out there right now. What do we got going on?
Yeah, I mean, this was interesting. Like, I feel like Vegas actually kind of expects this one to be not a shootout, but also a competitive back and forth game here. Despite right now the Dolphins being 6.5-point favorites, Raheem Mostert is the favorite to score touchdowns today, whether it's anytime touchdown, whether it's player to score first touchdown. Raheem Mostert has the best odds. Player to score first touchdown, Raheem Mostert plus 550, Tyreek Hill plus 550 as well. Player to score first touchdown for the Miami Dolphins, both those guys, Raheem Mostert plus 400, Tyreek Hill plus 425.
Man, he has been good. He has been scoring touchdowns.
I wonder what the odds are for Devon A-Chain to score a touchdown.
Let's see. I'm looking for it. He's there plus 1,200, first quarter touchdown. Anytime touchdown, first half, Devon A-Chain plus 600.
I put some money on that.
Plus 225, anytime touchdown score, Devon A-Chain.
Yeah, I think that's a good bet for you. If you want to make a decent amount of money on a high risk bet.
It's I guess I'd be willing to take a flyer, but you think A-Chain can have a touchdown today? Like, you think he'll be that big of a piece in the offense today?
I think they're going to test out the A-Chain plays.
I like that. New toys.
He's going to pull the new toy out, and he's going to want to play with a little bit, and it's gonna, he's going to see what the capabilities are.
This man, everybody seems to be really just marveling at what Mike McDaniel is doing with his offense. Omar, with these first couple weeks, everybody's like, "Oh, this Dolphins team, they're moving around." Yeah, everybody's just
it's the motion.
Even what Tyreek said this week, he's like, "You're going to start to see people trying to copy it and things like that."
Yes, and he's right.
like what's just impressed you just about the way that he's operating in year 2 with this thing and having everybody on that same page?
You know, I keep bringing it back to Mike McDaniel explaining it as if being able to speak Spanish in Spain. Like there's a difference between you taking Spanish classes and maybe you're on Spanish 3 and then going to that foreign country and being able to communicate and actually get around and get by. And that's really what it is. Whereas, you know, Tua speaks Spanish fluently now. Now, that's hyperbole, of course. I'm not, you know, knowing Tua, he does a little bit of everything. And that helps him. And then the players are beginning to understand it a little bit better. And this is something that I've never heard from any other offensive coach. It's not just that they understand the plays and they know the plays. It's that they know the why of the plays. So everything sets up for everything. Like sometimes you have an assignment and it might not make sense to you, or you might not feel like it's glorifying you, or like even River Craycraft. I think River plays about 30 snaps. Why? Because he's a ferocious blocker and he's going to set up the big play. And when other guys catch the ball or running downfield, River's probably going to give you that finishing block. So, and the same thing with Robbie Chosen in terms of why there's a lot of, they understand the whys. So why is Robbie Chosen going to be on the field a lot today? Because he's going to stretch the field and open it up for everybody else. So he's running a lot of sacrifice routes as what they call them, where you're basically sprinting with your 4.2 speed downfield 40 yards, not to get the ball, but to clean out everything for everybody else.
It's such an interesting thing with why Mike McDaniel's got everybody so hyped right now, but this was not like the plan A for this franchise. And it's interesting with Sean Payton being here today across on the other sideline. It's a guy they got busted for tampering with. He was like, listen, he has been the offensive guru, you know, the guy who was like, oh, Drew Brees and that, you know, spreading the ball around and all that stuff. Like, I'm not saying Sean Payton's a bum, but it's interesting that the old guard is kind of, they're looking at that. And I get why, you know, if you were going to move on from Brian Flores, like you want to get the name. It was almost like a little weird. I remember when Brian Flores got fired, the day he got fired. First of all, I was very shocked that happened.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we all kind of went to the first place of, oh, they're going to hire Jim Harbaugh. Like there has to be like a big name after this. It turned out that it was Sean Payton. They got caught. And now they're in this place where they have the whiz kid. Like they have this guy who's dazzling everybody instead of the old guard. It's
that
weird.
Nobody interviewed.
Nobody interviewed.
Nobody interviewed. 9 openings. Nobody interviewed him but you. And but then again, he's that impressive that he gets the first job that he's interviewed for. And it's not like he had ridiculous endorsements behind him, because he didn't have a Bill Parcells saying, that's my guy. That's the next one. You know, Mike Shanahan is not Bill Parcells. And I'm a big believer in Mike Shanahan and who he is. And if you look at his coaching tree, I would argue to you, him and Andy Reid have the best coaching trees in the NFL right now. But, you know, Mike McDaniel, he was kind of the bruised up fruit in that coaching tree.
Yes.
And, you know, it doesn't mean that the juice wasn't sweet, but, you know, this is a guy who felt overshadowed by all of his peers throughout the league. And here he is now running the offense that everybody in the NFL is in awe over and wants to copy.
It could very well go down as the best decision Stephen Ross ever made, right? As an owner. And I know, it's
early.
I know, but what my point is, you talk about nobody else interviewed Mike McDaniel.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about the unconventional hire as well, just based on who he is, his type of personality,
the warts that he's got in his background.
When you think of the situation the Dolphins were in, a total rebuild, they're going into year 3
of a rebuild before McDaniel got here.
Before hiring him, right? A total rebuild.
Okay.
They draft the franchise quarterback after year 1 of the rebuild that everybody wanted. They're going into year 3 of that rebuild.
Some people wanted Herbert.
Well, most people. I mean, Tank for Tua was a thing.
Most pundits.
Yes.
And they fire the head coach that they started that rebuild with,
because he really didn't believe in Tua.
And but now your next hire has to be a guy that's coming in to salvage that rebuild. You have 4 years to fix that rebuild and start competing. And they went with the unconventional hire. They went with the guy that really hadn't been a head coach yet, hadn't even been an offensive coordinator, really. Like, I mean, that was a massive gamble, and you don't make that hire unless that dude steps into the office or the Zoom or whatever it was at that time and blows the damn interview away, which is why I always felt, let's give this guy a chance, because you don't take that gamble at that stage of.
But hold on, it was so late.
rebuild.
Remember, it was so late. I hear where you're going, and I like what you're saying. There are two things I'm going to kind of throw in as a monkey wrench in this situation. And I like what you're saying because they were like, Brian Daboll, we like him, but we can wait. And the waiting was for Sean Payton and
Well, that's the thing.
Tom Brady.
It's a wild thing that they are in this spot right now, maybe in a better spot. Who's to say? But right now, it seems like they're in a better spot.
Absolutely.
They are. None of this was their choice, but their original plan.
Yeah.
No.
Their original plan was, all right, we're done, Brian. First of all, their original plan, Brian Flores, first was looking into Deshaun Watson, which also seems like a huge, bullet that they dodged right now because he does not look very good. And then you're in this spot where it's like, all right, well, we're going to pivot from that. We're going to go do the Tom Brady, Sean Payton thing, get busted for it, and it lands them in this spot where they got to go, I guess we got to fix Tua.
Hold on. And I hear what you're saying, and I like what you're saying, and all of it is valid. But they really got busted for tanking for Tua. They got They got punished for tanking for Tua. Tampering is part of the NFL. They do it. Everybody does.
Oh, no, listen.
Now, so is tanking, but you as a league, you can't punish yourself for, they were really tanking.
No, the Dolphins were the first team I ever heard actually get reprimanded for tanking. I'm like, when did this become a thing that people couldn't do?
But is
anybody reprimanding the Cardinals? I haven't seen one segment about it this week.
That was just
man, the Cardinals are competitive and they're trying to win.
Sure.
That was just ESPN fodder, though, right? Like, that's just Dominique Foxworth coming out and saying that the Dolphins should be fined for putting their players in jeopardy.
Remember when Nina Kimes drew a big old tank on a telestrand,
which was excellent. But I mean, they won 5 games that season, right? Like, the whole thing, everything that was talked about when they were 0-9 going into that Sunday Night Football game against the Steelers, that the Dolphins are jeopardizing the health of their players and risking the health of their players. It was all BS because they ended up winning 5 games that season, and they still ended up with 2 anyways. I hated the idea.
In that game, Patrick Graham called the ultimate tank play that allowed the Steelers to get back in that game. God dang it! And I lost all credibility for him, like all respect. Not that I was against the tanking, because I was in full support of it, and I felt like they should have tanked better than they did. Even challenged Brian Flores on that. You tank quitter. But yeah, that play, they were tanking and they got punished for tanking. They didn't get punished for tampering with Sean Payton and Tom Brady. They got caught for tampering with Sean Payton and Tom Brady.
Who gets caught tampering? Who gets caught?
Text history, brother. You got to be real careful with your text history.
Yeah, but that also happens when Brian Flores doesn't know how to just. Let it
go.
Know what?
Hey, man, if you just gave him his money, he would have went away. You said, nah, you're not going to get your money.
Oh, I don't remember him being upset about the deflated balls in New England. I don't remember him having to send an email to the NFL or start an investigation. He couldn't uphold the integrity of the league when everybody in New England knew that Belichick was filming people on the sidelines.
Okay. Yeah, but in a weird way.
Belichick didn't know anything, or Brian Flores didn't know anything back then. But all of a sudden, you're on a boat with Tom Brady.
No. I can't be on a boat with Tom Brady.
Okay, all right.
In a weird way, thanks for the lawsuit.
Yeah,
because now we got Mike McDaniel and Tua's fixed.
Mm-hmm. Tua's fixed. And you're going to be in the situation where hey, yeah, Tom Brady a year. That would have been fun, but if Tua's that dude, I mean, that's going to last you a long time.
You're right, Tobin.
It is. And it's right now, they're the most fun thing in the sport. We'll see how good it's going to be. But right now, everybody's enjoying it every single Sunday. It feels like a party because of what this offense and what this quirky mad genius has in store for everybody.
Say what you want to say, Tobin. This offense is more fun than a Tom Brady offense would have been with Sean Payton.
Oh, definitely.
Boom.
You're
definitely.
Right. I'm with you.
It is.
I'm with you.
I'm having a good
time. What about a Sean Payton? What about a Sean Payton Tom Brady offense with Tyreek Hill?
Would they have gotten Tyreek Hill too?
Yeah, I probably would have.
I don't know, man. I have weird feelings about Tom Brady coming in as the white knight. You know, after so many years kicking your ass, I've weird conflicts with that.
I mean, he does live in Indian Creek. He's
good for him. That's great.
It's right around the corner.
That's great.
You know?
But you know, I'm
He's
happy.
He's single now.
It's
Probably
gonna-
wanted to live on the South Florida streets.
You know, people went for a Super Bowl for so long. Super Bowl may be a Super Bowl to everybody, but if it is with Tua, it's going to feel more satisfying than if it was with Tom Brady.
I think you would have taken it like a cheap whore.
I guess we won't know.
We'll never have to know.
I'd rather
but I
stand,
think,
well, now I'm going to stand on my morals because I can't.
yeah. Now you're all moralistic and everything. I think you would have just taken it and said, "Thank you, Tom."
Take a quick break here on Game Day Uncensored, streaming live on YouTube and Twitch, Miami 560 WQM. We're going to get to some of your questions coming up at the end of this hour of our final segment. So get those in on the chat. We'll start gathering those. If you guys have any questions coming in, we'll get a look at the fantasy for this week. No Jalen Waddle. How's that going to affect everybody? Back with more after this.
Text WQAM on
Sponsored by South Florida Lexus dealers, Tito's Handmade Vodka, Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac, JM Lexus, and Williamson Automotive.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Game Day Uncensored here on 560 WQAM. Brendan Tobin here with you alongside Omar Kelly and Alejandro Solana. Miami Dolphins taking on the Broncos at 1 o'clock from Hard Rock Stadium. I'm sure a lot of you pouring into the stadium right now, getting your tailgate on. Remember to leave your grills away from the car. Do not let that explode under the car. No fires. No, I mean, that was crazy last year.
You feel like that's not something you'd have to tell.
I'm just reminding everybody.
Tailgaters. No, I mean, you're
It was
right.
some rookie. I mean, obviously, it's not somebody who's experienced.
I would totally be that guy that does this because I have no tailgating
the
experience.
charcoal underneath the car, though. I mean, fire, oil, gasoline.
I would be that rookie. I'm sorry. I don't know any rules to tailgating. I'm sorry. I've been a media member most of my career. I've probably tailgated once in my life, twice. Outside of showing up to bum somebody's food. I mean the whole cooking aspect of it. Nah.
Really?
Nah. I mean,
what is this you have just sent me here, Omar? This is Tua's walking into the
stadium. That's
today?
Tua's game day attire, baby. He's wearing a, I don't know what do you formally call it? Is it a skirt or?
It's got to be like something Samoan. Right?
I know clearly it's something Samoan. I just don't know what it's called.
He wears. I remember posting like screenshots of fits from Tua his rookie season where he showed up to games a lot of times like this, like in his Samoan garb, I guess you could say. So like this is a frequent look from Tua.
I mean,
from Uno.
The funny thing is, and I've wanted to ask him this question, and people got to understand, you don't get an opportunity to ask every question that you want to ask because questions are so limited, and the way that things are run at the Dolphins, you literally get one question to ask. If you get a second one, like you hit the lotto.
Right.
So
especially with him, like you got probably a national story a week you got to cover.
So you got to be selective on the questions that you ask. But I really do want to know, and I've been meaning to ask him because for my daughter who is 2 years old, I watch Moana a lot. That is our new movie. That is that is the movie we are obsessed with right now. So it's like, and I know that just like The Rock means a lot to the Samoan culture and the Polynesian culture, Tua is probably just as big as The Rock in terms of who he is and what he means to an entire culture of people, island. Tua's got Hawaii, he's got Alabama, and the Samoan culture are part of Tuanon. I know when you say something that's not favorable to Tua, you will be attacked. Yeah. And
good luck.
Yeah, good luck to you. And it's like you're taking on an entire culture of people.
He's super beloved there. And the thing, I remember talking to Max Holloway, who is former UFC featherweight champion. Guy's going to the Hall of Fame. He's one of the greatest fighters of all time. And he's from Hawaii. I remember asking him about the Tua Jiu-Jitsu thing when that was going down. And because I've seen them like go back and forth on social media and things like that. And I'm like, are you guys friends? He goes, listen, if he considered me my friend, that I was his friend, that would be amazing. And I'm like, you're Max Holloway. He goes, but that's Tua.
Yeah,
that's Tua.
And I want to know, like, what does it feel like to like represent and like be the second biggest figure to an entire culture of people? And so that's why I don't know what it's called, and somebody probably can.
I looked it up here. I mean, there's a Samoan fabric that is worn like a skirt is called the lava.
Yeah,
but there's also the pau, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that, but that's a traditional Hawaiian, garment, cloth of sorts. It says that is worn like a skirt as well for men or women. So I don't know if this is the lava or the pau.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to get to the bottom.
I looked it up, and all that came up was salmon dresses, which are very pretty. But yes, I got to get my wife a salmon dress. I like the color. But lava, yeah. If it's called a lava, like I'm with it, and obviously he's representing for his people.
I love that though, because I know you were talking about Leo Messi a couple weeks ago, and like Messi is from Argentina, I'm from Uruguay, very similar, and he carries like his mate around, and mate is basically a different type of tea that South Americans drink. It's very popular in Argentina and Uruguay. Everywhere you go, people have that. And like I drink mate every morning pretty much.
Yeah.
And I just like people who are putting on for their culture, representing, and the way you talk about it, Omar, you know, where he really is like the face of an entire culture, really.
Yes.
I just like the fact that like that's our quarterback and he's putting on for his people. I
And
genuinely like that.
And it
about
is
Tua.
called the lava lava.
Boom. There you go. Hey, Solana, let's get to a little fantasy watch here, brought to us by our friends over at Tito's Handmade Vodka. This fantasy update brought to us by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka on game day. Pour me in, coach. Find cocktail recipes for every fan at Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly. I was having some Tito's yesterday by the pool. It was delicious. Delicious.
Nice.
What do you got? What are we looking at for today, man? No Jalen Waddle, obviously.
No Waddle. So Tyreek Hill, I mean, that seems like an obvious start for everybody. Seems like he might get a couple extra touches, but I mean, if you have Tyreek Hill on your roster and you're benching him, then get your head checked. All right. But Raheem Mostert, I read you those props earlier from Vegas. Seems after his Sunday Night Football performance like he's going to get a lot of touches, yes, but certainly a lot of red zone touches. That's the hope. And the hope is a couple touchdowns from Raheem Mostert. And just so everybody knows, I'm starting him in the league that I have Raheem Mostert in as well, which I believe happens to be our Odyssey football, fantasy football league. But as for the Denver Broncos, Russell Wilson, he's an okay quarterback. You're probably looking at starting Jerry Jeudy today against the Miami Dolphins. I know we don't want to hear that, but he's wide receiver 1, and he's also a very, very good red zone threat. And they're 0-2, man. Like they're gonna try to do everything they can to be in the red zone as many times as possible. So Jerry Jeudy, start him if you got him.
Yeah, and you also have to wonder with them, like, are they going to try and, Sean Payton does think of himself, like, he is a good coach, and he is thought of himself, he is thought of as an offensive guru. You wonder, after these last couple of weeks, the way they've lost, they were kind of constipated week 1. The past week, they had a big blown lead, but they did have the Hail Mary. Probably got screwed out of tying that game, too, with a pass interference.
Definitely was a pass interference.
But you have to wonder with Sean Payton, like, is he pulling out? And he said, this week? Wasn't this the anniversary of the Wildcat this week?
Yeah, you saw Kenyon Drake. Did you see what Kenyon Drake was wearing, Omar?
I did see that.
Yeah, Gronk didn't have the angle.
It's a good shirt. But you have to wonder with is Sean Payton going to try anything particularly different? And I got to think, too, listen, they saw the game we saw last week, too, with Eli Apple struggling a little bit. Like, I'm sure they're going to be looking at this and seeing, hey, can we take advantage of that because of what he did last week?
You got to imagine, right? Like the Dolphins, the expectations are Tua's going to come out, especially in the first half. We've seen it so many times, throwing the football. Denver's probably going to want to counter with the same. They're going to want to come out and try to move the ball and let Russell Wilson outplay Tua. Like, I feel like that's the only way they can win this game, Tobin. I mean, we saw the Dolphins in week 1 give up a ton of rushing yards. Seems like they fixed that, I believe. And
calm
a
down.
little bit. I mean,
Calm down.
My point is, it's not going to be, it's not going to be Austin Eckler running down your throat
It's hard
today.
to be worse.
With Javonte Williams.
Yeah, let's hold on. Yes, 88 yards to the Patriots, which is a team that wants to run. Great. That's props to you. You kind of address it. Before we crown them and say it's fixed.
It's not that's not what I'm saying though, Omar. Going in to week 2, Sunday Night Football, what were we saying New England's game plan is going to be?
Run the ball.
They're going to run the ball, and it was obvious. We're going to run the ball.
Yeah, but they couldn't do anything else.
But
kind of easy to stop you when you can't do anything else.
The Broncos aren't approaching this game that way. The Broncos aren't saying we're going to win this game by running the football. I don't see that. I see Sean Payton saying
I think every team is going to want to run the ball because they want to limit the Miami's offensive possessions.
Yeah, that's definitely true. You want to try and keep them off of the field as much as possible. But the thing that's, we've seen with them is, man, they can strike quick. Like there's times where they don't need a big drive.
But hold on. Not only, and this is the beauty of their offense, not only can they strike quick, but they are great at ball possession and time of possession and sustained drives. And it's not methodical drives. And it's not like the Brian Tannehill years where you did that because you had to do that.
Yeah.
No, they're just very good.
I'm always very excited when I watch Mike McDaniel when he gets a 2-minute drive because like he doesn't sweat the time ticking as much as I am on my couch because I'm like, there's 40 seconds, go time out. He's like, nope, waiting. He's waiting. And he's just so, it's so much fun. Just like seeing the way he crafts that to get those points going into halftime.
How about after the Dolphins score on Sunday Night Football, right before the end of the half, Patriots get the ball with like 16 seconds left at their own 25, and old McCorkle Jones just need it. And I'm thinking McDaniel would never. Go ahead, Belichick. Knee the football.
I don't blame Belichick though.
Yeah,
I don't blame him with that.
offense?
Yeah, it's. Oof.
I mean, it's a big.
They got a big one coming up today, man. Against
Blame
the Jets.
Belichick.
Listen, don't lose to the Jets.
Jets could sneak up on you, not with quarterback. Their defense.
The defense, they got playmakers.
They need 17 points. They could win with 17 points.
You know, you got Breece Hall. That Garrett Wilson's amazing. He doesn't. You give him a little window. Gone.
I don't know about that,
dude. Did you see the ball the first week where he basically batted it to himself? He's a very impressive player. He's just got. It's tough. He's got a bum at quarterback. It's tough life. It's tough.
I mean, everybody blames Mike Wallace for his career going haywire here. Well, he had a bum at quarterback.
No, that is true. Couldn't get on the deep ball at all. Like that.
No.
That was when we were hoping. Oh, Mike Wallace, fun. No.
Yeah.
There was like one play where it was fun. There was one play early in the season where it was fun.
Oh man,
that's what Mike Wallace he learned. Don't sign with a team you didn't meet the head coach. Lesson learned. And guys still do it though. Guys still do it.
Didn't Mike Wallace have who was it? Was it? Did he have like somebody speaking for him like the last week?
The final game. Yeah, that was after. Come on. In fairness, that was after they had ran and failed at a coup to try to take Ryan Tannehill down and replace him with Matt Moore as wide receivers. They ran a coup on the quarterback and it failed, and they were just there stuck. Like
I don't listen, Tannehill Island. It's a tough place to be. It's a tough place to be.
And then the organization had to clean out the whole receiving room and get rid of everybody and start all over. It's these are the things that happen when you're a Dolphins fan.
Looks like better times right now, thankfully.
Yes.
We'll take a quick break. Game Day Uncensored come back. We're going to get into some of your questions. If you guys have questions or comments, you guys can text us 305-567-0560, or we have the chat open on YouTube and Twitch. We're going to get to some of your questions, comments. Miami 560 WQAM. Hit us up there on the chat, and we will address some of those. We will go over your week 3 slate coming on up. It's a great 1 o'clock slate. Then stuff gets dicey later on.
Damn.
The 4 o'clock slate's bad, dude.
Yeah.
Back after this.
You're listening to the exclusive home of Miami Hurricanes football.
AM 560 Sports, WQAM, FM 99.9 HD2, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Sponsored by South Florida Lexus dealers, Tito's Handmade Vodka, Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac, JM Lexus, and Williamson Automotive.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Game Day Uncensored here on 560 WQAM. All right, we got to get to this. We are streaming live on YouTube and Twitch, Miami 560 WQAM. A lot of the questions that came in related to the list that we just got, and understandably so, as the actives have come out, which, of course, the lineup's brought to us by JM Lexus. When it comes to loyal fans, it's JM Lexus with a 4.8 Google rating and over 13,000 reviews. JM Lexus, West Semple Road and Margate. All right, boys, here's what we got for the actives, inactives today. We knew Jalen Waddle, of course, out with the concussion. Savon Ahmed, he was banged up this week. Keon Smith, he is out. Tyler Kroft, he is out. But I think the two big surprises on the inactive lists, Eric Ezukama, inactive, and cornerback Cam Smith, inactive. What do we make of this, Omar?
Let's start with Eric Ezukama. We won't be seeing the Deebo Samuels package today.
Bummer.
Part of the reason is I believe Cedric Wilson probably outperformed him in practice this week, which happens. And then also, you probably need Cedric Wilson as a backup punt returner, kickoff returner, because of Braxton Berrios' elevated role as a wide receiver.
Because Waddle's out.
Yeah, because Waddle's out.
Okay.
Now let's move to Cam Smith. Total surprise. I do know that other guys were getting opportunities in tryouts as a cornerback on the boundary. I do think that there's going to be a new third guy out there. Who it's going to be, maybe Justin Bethel, maybe not. We shall see. And the return of safety Elijah Campbell helps you from a gunner standpoint. I thought Cam Smith did an excellent job as a gunner last week. But, you know, if Elijah is ahead, Elijah is probably one of the best gunners in the NFL right now. And the fact he's back from the knee injury and is cleared and ready to play, that's a big deal. Also, the Tyler Kroft, he's battling an injury right now. So Julian Hill, your rookie, steps up as the number 2 tight end. Let's say if something happens to Durham Smythe, that's going to be an interesting thing to watch as well.
That is going to be interesting. And then on the other side of it, we do get officially Armstead back. Jalen Phillips, no surprise.
Rock.
They are ready to go. So that's an exciting element to this as well. But yeah, I think look, you have a young guy in Cam Smith being out. I don't worry about it too much, but it's but the Ezukama one's interesting. I almost blame Tyreek Hill for his Terrell Owens comparisons. It's almost like too much Tyreek.
You know, the one thing is we don't know what goes into guys getting ready for the game week, and sometimes guys have bad weeks of practice. Sometimes you don't realize that players are given tests on the game plan. And sometimes guys fail the tests. And you fail the test, that means you're not ready to go. And it could cost you. So there's a lot of studying that needs to get done. And sometimes these rookies just don't do it and pass the test. And I think that could be the situation where you see in Cam Smith is just not ready to go right now. Vic Fangio, basically, he's got trust issues. And if he can't trust you, he can't play you.
Especially against his former team. And in fact, Delvin Kane on Twitch asked, why not Eli Apple inactive? They're not going to make the Eli Apple inactive.
Nah.
They're not going to do that. Not yet. I mean, he's got to really stink up the joint.
I mean, if people think it's like a conspiracy against these players, like you got to put the players out there who are going to put your team in the best position to win the game. And if that's not Cam Smith this week, and I thought this would be a week where he pushes for that starting spot and challenges, maybe it was just a little bit too much for him. Maybe he got that opportunity and he really did, and Tyreek lit him up.
I mean, they are going up against a very talented wide receiver group, right? I mean, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, there's some really talented guys out there. This isn't Devontae Parker and Mike Gesicki that you have to worry about, and Hunter Henry.
And I will warn all fans, remember, Russell Wilson broke Noah Igbenogany. his rookie season, he was in the game, elevated because of an injury that happened to Byron Jones. And he was out there playing and out there starting against Russell Wilson. And Russell Wilson caught him peeking in the backfield twice and roasted him for big plays and touchdown. And Noah was never the same, ever again. And sometimes you gotta trust the coaches and what their decisions are. And Cam Smith is a backfield peeker as well. And that's the one thing you can't do against Russell Wilson. Do not peek in the backfield against Russell Wilson. Like, just do your job and stick with your wide receiver. Do not start looking in the backfield against Russell Wilson because the wide receiver will be 10 yards behind you.
Dade South says on Twitch, he says, you think Easy is out because he's A-Chain's going to take the snaps at that Debo position.
No, they're not the. Oh, you know what? Interesting.
Tickles your fancy a little bit.
A-Chain,
they're not built the same, obviously.
No, they're not built the same. A-Chain is going to be used very uniquely. I can tell you that. I've seen a little bit of it. It's going to be very unique.
The Debo stuff didn't. Just to be clear, loved it in preseason. Loved it week 1 on one instance. Didn't work week 2.
No.
So maybe they're just prioritizing.
You have one bad Debo game, and all of a sudden you rats off a ship on him.
We haven't really had one strong Debo game. I mean, we had one good Debo play.
Nobody's Debo savior. You see what he did on Thursday Night Football as a moose. It's terrifying.
I'm just saying I'm not as surprised. Like when I brought up Eric Ezukama actually being a receiver and not, Debo stuff out of the backfield, Omar just was like, maybe, but probably not, because you have Braxton Berrios and for Craycraft. And
today, I can name you like 4 better receivers.
You're missing Jalen Waddle, and Mike McDaniel's probably saying, we don't have time for that cutesy stuff. All right, like we don't have time to figure out the cutesy Debo stuff with Eazy-E. Like let's go pitch and catch with Tua.
But what I like about the Eazy-E package is, it's funny I call me, everybody calls me Eazy. What I like about the Eazy-E packages is, and this is something that I've always felt like is important. You got to give coaches something where they got to spend 15, 20 minutes in the coaching room and 15, 20 minutes on the field to get prepared for. If this happens, this is the guy that they use in this role. If he comes onto the field, this is what they've done before. This is what happened. These are the rules. It takes up at least 30 to 45 minutes of preparation time for the week. And the more packages like that you have, the more preparation time they don't have to prepare for everything else. So I love those things. Now, am I a big gadget guy? Nah, not really. And the one thing I do fear about Devon A-Chain is that he's going to be used as a gadget player, and I'm not a big fan of gadget players. I want to see if he can be an every down player.
But I would say ultimately, like the bigger news out of all this is like the guys they're getting back is probably a much bigger deal than the guys that aren't playing.
For sure.
Yeah.
Not even close. Like getting Armstead, getting Jalen Phillips, getting Elijah Campbell back, that's huge in comparison to not having a couple of young guys.
That's your starting defensive end, your Pro Bowl left tackle, and your number 1 special teams player. That you're right. That is huge. Don't underestimate Elijah Campbell. I don't know if he's 100%. I talked to him during the week because he was looking like he was getting back in there, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm close." And I don't know if he's 100%, but that is your number 1 special teams player. So the fact that he's back is going to make a huge difference.
Do you think that the emergence last week of Van Ginkel, now having JP back in the fold, like, do you still think that we're going to see a little bit of what Van Ginkel did last week? Like, because
you want a little gink, don't you? You want some gink?
He was so good. I love Jalen Phillips. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he broke.
Everybody here, we all love Jalen Phillips. Everybody loves Jalen Phillips. But what Gink
how could you not?
What Gink did, like, that was hot. that was really hot. The spin moves, like I never knew he was that kind of dude.
He was a monster.
Opportunity when and that's one of the things. What I love about Van Ginkel is he went out there, he took his free agent trips, he got courted by New England, and New England. Once you leave the Dolphins, New England's like, come to us, we want you.
Thank God, because he would have torched us on Sunday Night Football.
He's absolutely. And then he Belichick's junior in with Vegas. But then Vic Fangio called him and said, and I asked him about it. He was like, he's because I'd heard from Van Ginkel, Van Ginkel, Vic Fangio called me and basically was like, yeah, we need you back. We want you back. You're not going to be some special teams player we're forgetting about. Like, I like what you do. I will utilize you. And it was, and Van Ginkel. Vic Fangio. He's not a BSer.
No,
he's not a salesman. He's a straight shooter. And I would argue to you that Van Ginkel is his favorite player on the defense right now. Probably second favorite behind.
You trust him everywhere. Like, it feels like.
Absolutely.
Like, that's the thing that, and if you're Vic Fangio and you can plug a guy here or there, whatever roles, like, yeah, how could you not be in love with a player like that?
He gave one of the answers when, okay, you liked him as an inside linebacker, playing him ahead of David Long Jr. You said he earned that job. You like him as an edge rusher. He's playing ahead of Emmanuel Ogbah. Maybe he's going to take some snaps from Chubb, and I think they're going to be a 3-man rotation. This is my honest, genuine belief. And we asked, like, what will he do? Will he do? And he was like, basically both. And I don't know how you do both, but hey, if somebody could do both, it'll be Van Ginkel. And now you're at the point where when Van Ginkel enters the field, you have no idea what the intentions of him doing is.
Sneaky Van Ginkel.
Yeah. Sneaky Gink. Like a
Gink.
sneaky link.
Sneaky Ginks.
Yeah.
Lawrence wants to know, do you have any concerns with the offensive line groove being off with Teron Armstead being back in the lineup?
Bro, you get your best player back.
No pleasing anybody.
Like he's a top 3 player on this team. How does it not get better unless he's like 40%? He's out there at 40%.
Yeah, unless he's like, and they wouldn't put him out there. I can't imagine they were gonna.
Because
if you have the offensive line being that competent the first couple of weeks, why would you rush him back? It doesn't, like, I don't feel like they would put him in that position. They probably, maybe he could have gone last week, and they're like, let's put it out. Let's try and stretch it out as much as we can.
I think the hesitation has been more of a stamina issue than it has been performance issue, but he's Armstead, based on what I couldn't even believe, and I didn't know this because I was doing other things during the season, and sometimes I was traveling on Sunday, so I barely ever got to see Dolphins game live. I didn't know the guy only practiced once a week.
Crazy.
And played at that level, practicing once a week. I'm like, wow, that's impressive. And he's practiced an entire week for 2 straight weeks. Might be out, might be a force.
Practicing once a week is a stretch, by the way. This dude wasn't practicing.
You're
like he was wearing tennis shoes if he was practicing once a week last season. Maybe towards the end of the season when he came back from injury, he was trying to get some reps back in. Bro, TA did not practice through the first 10 weeks last season. I'm telling you, he did not practice.
You're right.
We'll take a quick break here on Gameday Uncensored final hour as we are winding down to kickoff. Back with more after this.
You're listening to the exclusive
we can kick back and be ourselves. The Dolphins are home today, facing the Broncos. The Fins can be themselves today. Mighty, exciting, victorious, just like they were the last 2 weeks. But as it always is in the NFL, it ain't gonna be easy today versus Denver. Coach McDaniel knows that.
2-0 means you have 2 wins. So what does that mean? That means nothing to me. So we did our jobs and we won the game, which is what we're trying to do each and every game. That's a checkbox. That's not a high five.
Tua knows that.
They present a lot of challenges. You got to understand where those blitzers are coming from. You got to understand where you want to protect them. We got to figure out, how we want to attack them in that sense.
But a packed stadium filled with the screaming faithful will certainly help. Big day, big game, big show. Time for Game Day. Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami football fans on AM 560 Sports, WQAM, FM 99.9 HD2, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Game Day Uncensored is sponsored by South Florida Lexus Dealers. Experience amazing by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka on game day? Pour me in, coach. Ed Morse Sawgrass Buick GMC is a proud partner of the Miami Dolphins. Remember, you're always backed by Morse. By JM Lexus. At JM Lexus, you'll always get the home team advantage. And by Williamson Automotive. Williamson is Miami.
All right. Welcome back in, everybody, to Game Day Uncensored here on 560 WQAM. Tobin here with you alongside Omar Kelly and Alejandro Solana. Vlad producing this program today, taking you up until 1 o'clock. We'll check in again later on with Dan Day here as he is live from Hard Rock Stadium. I'm sure everybody getting in their last licks of the old tailgating before you got to venture on over to the seats. You got to get that last fuel up of snacks there, Solana, before you go on in.
Snacks, or you got to throw down a couple extra brewskis before you got to go into the Hard Rock Stadium and pay $14 for a damn beer.
I remember working concessions back in college when I was at Barry University. We would work.
Too?
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah, and man, when you had to close off the alcohol sales, never a time I felt in more danger than upsetting everybody.
Man, sports fans will be pissed.
I used to work at the stadium and I used to sell. That was my first job, actually. I got hired by the Marlins for the Marlins, and obviously I did all the events and all the concerts, selling TCBY yogurt.
Oh,
I did parking.
I would have liked that stand. I would have liked that stand. We had we did like the general.
Eventually
stand.
I got some status and I started going into the club seats, so I wasn't subjected to the sun,
That's nice.
But I began by the walking TCBY yogurt guy, and then you're carrying the big cooler of crap. Oh my God, that was such a workout. Obviously then I had to elevate myself and was put up in the 400 levels, burning in the sun while selling yogurt. But the yogurt sales was pretty good, but we weren't commission based. And then eventually I gained some status, got a couple of friends hired, and I was club level, baby.
Yes. Yeah. Oh man, I remember it was a big deal when we moved from the standard to the standard concession stand. Then they threw us over to the Miami sub stand. They're like, oh. I'm like, we're ready for the big time.
That's a good stand.
Cutting
right there,
euros.
man.
Oh man, that was something.
Yeah.
With some sauce on a pita, get everybody ready for the game. So I'm sure everybody's getting their last licks. Thanks for tuning on in, everybody, to Game Day Uncensored here, Miami 560 WQM on YouTube and Twitch. As your Dolphins are getting ready for the Denver Broncos. The big news, if you guys are just tuning in, as far as the health status for the Dolphins. Jalen Phillips is back. Teron Armstead is back. Elijah Campbell is back. Jalen Waddle, of course, out with a concussion. Here is Tua earlier in the week. Before we knew the status, if he was saying if Jalen is going to be out, this is what they got to deal with.
It's tough when you don't have, two of your top guys in Waddle. And if we weren't to have Tyreek on any given Sunday, but, I would say the rest of the guys in that room, they're ready to step up. They're ready to play. Doesn't change how I prepare. I was going to be funny. I was going to say I might as well stay home if they don't play. But yeah, I think the guys in their room, they're ready to step up. And whatever card you're dealt with, you got to go out there and play any given Sunday. Those guys on the other side don't care. about who's playing or not. They just want to do anything they can to help their team win.
What a rascal. Just stay home. I guess I can't do anything without Jalen Waddle. I am gonna miss him though. I mean, I haven't gotten my touchdown celebration this year. I'm upset about that. And so now, now he's out. I want him healthy, of course, but it just bums me out. I love watching Jalen Waddle play football. That's the only thing. I think
having the Ferrari and the Lambo.
Yeah,
right?
Dude. It's just
I'm happy with the Lambo, but you want the Ferrari and the Lambo.
I like the racetrack out there, dude.
That's right.
I like both.
That's right.
Both of them out there. It's so much fun. It's so much fun when you have them both out there. But you do hope that it is a quick recovery for Jalen. He was out doing did you Omar this week? I saw he was in the red contact jersey. Did he do anything?
He pretended like he practiced.
Okay.
I'm just being honest. I saw him one route. So
they made the appearance that maybe.
Yeah.
They're not going to play with concussions.
No.
Period.
Absolutely
right? Like
not.
after what happened last year and even into this offseason and this preseason, you had Stephen A. Smith still taking shots at McDaniel.
Yep.
And saying that he thinks that he botched the whole Tua situation.
He told him not to talk. Don't talk anymore.
Okay. They're just not. They're not going to play it. So on Wednesday, when that first injury report came out, and McDaniel said, "Yeah, Waddle's still in concussion protocol." I struggled. With him somehow getting through it and playing today.
And in fact, McDaniel said on Friday, even if he does clear concussion protocol, I'm not sure I'm going to play him. And this is it's not a matter of whether he suffered a setback, because that's not why he was ruled out of this game. They're just going to be ultra cautious with concussions.
Yep.
And when you are the poster boy or the poster franchise for what not to do in the NFL when it comes to concussions, you're going to be overly cautious.
Definitely.
when it comes to that injury moving forward.
On the field, Omar, we got the pregame hug with old Russ and Tua.
Yeah,
giving love to one another.
They look like twins. Well, except for you got bearded Tua. So
Oh, there it is.
It's I was trying to ask him because this week that was my one question I used. I wanted to know, people gotta understand, I haven't had that much exposure to Tua because the year that he was drafted was quarantine year, so we never really got to meet in person. And then his second season was the really uncomfortable courtship with and the Brian Flores situation.
I don't not feel wanted.
Yeah, the I don't not feel wanted. And then last year I was out doing I Am Athlete stuff. Now, so this is really my first exposure to him. So I'm getting opportunities to ask him questions like, who did you grow up admiring? And he basically was like, yeah, we didn't really have, in Hawaii, we just got what we got. And you didn't get a real chance to be selective and understand that these games are coming on at 9 o'clock in the morning. So I just watched what was on TV. But he did say he grew up a Cowboys fan.
It's probably earlier than 9 a.m., right?
Probably,
in Hawaii, because I think it's like a 5 or 6 hour difference in Hawaii. So these 1 o'clock games are at 7. Yeah, I can't do that math, Vlad. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Vlad.
Yeah, 7 a.m. You got to wake up, watch some football at 7 a.m.
That's worse than the Germany game, dude. Every week.
What's Germany this year? 9:30?
9:30?
Yeah. What have we ever figured out what the pregame situation of that game is?
I have not. No, I don't know.
We need to ask
No,
before we're here at 5 a.m.
Don't worry, our German affiliate is going to handle it. So don't worry about it.
Like goodness gracious.
Welcome into 560 the Schnitzel. Getting ready for Dolphins and Chiefs, everybody.
How about on CBS right now, on the CBS national pregame broadcast, just the Tua cam for the past 5 minutes. Every time I look up there, they have Tua going through his pregame routine.
Welcome to the big time, baby.
Yeah, man.
Welcome to the big time. You're the leader. You're the lead co-leader in MVP voting. Mike McDaniel's like the second favorite for.
Look at this. I mean, they've got Tua versus Russ. They've got Romo giving his take on Tua versus Russ.
Love it.
I mean,
welcome to the big time.
And it's gonna, like you said this earlier, Omar. Like if they win this week, it's only gonna get for that matchup next week.
Yeah. Oh my God. It don't even matter how they win. Yeah. They are going to pour gasoline. That's going to be the game of the week.
Oh yeah. I mean,
and Buffalo's got Washington today. They're 5.5-point favorites. Washington's 2-0, right?
Yep.
They're one of the surprise
Washington's
2-0
2-0.
teams.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
I'm
never
looking
know.
right now. The only thing I could see competing with it for next week, the only thing that could come close is if Deshaun Watson's impressive today.
Nah.
Browns and Ravens next week. That's like the only thing. Everything else, no. That's the Dolphins Bills is the matchup next week.
Do you want to know
probably win or lose? To be honest with you,
you want to know the early line right now, and obviously this could change massively by the
There's
end
a
of today.
line for next week's game.
There's a line for every game, Omar. What do you want to know?
He goes to the depths of
let me know what the line for Chiefs and Dolphins is. Goodness gracious.
I'll get to it.
What happens when you produce
Why is there a line for that game?
What happens when you produce for Mark Hochman? You got to know all the depths of degeneracy.
I have become the biggest degenerate. Right now, Buffalo's but we're not looking ahead. But right now, Buffalo's a 3-point favorite.
It sounds like we're looking ahead.
Sounds like an even. Yeah, you're right. We shouldn't do that.
I'm sorry.
We're violating all the rules of football.
We're not the coach. I don't have to be 1 week at a time. I don't have to do that.
I'm just so beaten down over the years, 20 years covering professional football and high level college football. I'm just so I can honestly tell you I don't know who they play after Buffalo. Not a clue.
If Tua,
not you could put a quiz to me and I could not tell you.
New York Giants at home.
Okay, at home. Okay.
Yep.
See, this is the only way I know. I know that Buffalo was after Denver because somebody told me.
And if I had to guess, if the Dolphins win today, no matter what happens next week, they're touchdown favorites over the New York Giants at home. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Oh. So much fun.
You guys are disrespecting Dayball. He's gonna get that ship righted.
Stop.
We'll see.
Stop.
Listen, Dayball was who everybody wanted other than Mike McDaniel.
Dayball. Score more than 12 points on prime time. Dayball.
People were angry that they weren't full court pressing Brian Dayball. Including me. I'll be honest.
Coming up later today, also on the 1 o'clock slate. By the way, we got Titans and Browns. Deshaun Watson, don't lose, dude. You've been stinking up the joint.
Let Ryan Tannehill resurrect his career against you, Deshaun Watson. Can you imagine that?
Listen, he already out-dueled Justin Herbert last week.
And listen, I keep telling people, don't sleep on Ryan Tannehill. He knows how to keep making money. He knows how to keep skirting the system.
He is resilient.
When it comes to he's made over $200 million in his career. Can you imagine that?
Crazy.
Old Herbert 0-2 versus Dolphins quarterbacks already this season.
Who's Herbert got this week?
Vikings.
Going
again.
Ooh, a Kirk Cousins bowl.
Hey, listen, Flores once did make him shave his head. So
yeah,
that did happen. He didn't like that amoeba defense back in the day. So we'll see if he's learned anything. But 2-0-2 teams, a huge game for those guys.
Vlad was telling me, our producer Vlad was like, that's maybe one of the better 0-2 matchups in a very, very long time in the NFL. Because
very important.
Those are two playoff teams. I'm not saying they're Super Bowl contenders, but those are two playoff teams that have just have not had things go their way so far this season.
Hitting the skids.
Falcons and Lions. Falcons are 2-0. So that's going on. Detroit's 3.5-point favorite in that. Saints and Packers at Lambeau. New Orleans is a 1-point favorite on the road. And then then the divisional matches we're keeping an eye on. Patriots at Jets. New England is a 2.5-point road favorite, which, I mean, I don't know, man. I just don't feel like I know that Zach Wilson looks like terrible, but I think the Jets got a better roster.
You're right about the Jets' better roster. But they got to win everything defensively.
I know.
They're like the old school Dolphins. Defense and run game.
How many times, Vlad, are you watching the Aaron Rodgers walk out of the tunnel with the flag, just remembering what could have
I totally forgot about Vlad and his Jets obsession. How you doing there, Vlad? You all right?
I'm good right now.
Yeah, his game hasn't started.
All he's got to do, listen, if he beats Bill Belichick today, he sends him into how many in a row has it been?
14 in a row. We haven't won since December of 2015.
So
gas was $2.
How do you feel about
gas was $2?
How do you feel about going steady with Zach Wilson?
I've been steady with her the last 2 years.
Yeah.
It's toxic.
It's
but we
toxic.
still together. It's like Blueface and Christian.
And then we got the Bills visiting the Commanders today at 1 o'clock, and they are 5.5 favorites on the road.
Yeah,
the 1 o'clock slate's not good. I mean the 4 o'clock slate's not good. Panthers, Seahawks, no Bryce Young. Cowboys, Cardinals, oof. And then Bears, Chiefs. Although the Justin Field stuff is interesting.
I mean, everybody wants to watch Chiefs. So, what is there? What's the nighttime game?
Pittsburgh, Las Vegas.
Yeah,
that's a little iffy
Yep.
too.
I'm going to talk about a bad offense. Kenny Pickett and that Pittsburgh
they
team.
just elevated Matt Canada, gave him more power. I thought Pittsburgh Steelers fans hated him.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Dolphins, as exciting as they are, I mean, America, get used to watching Kenny Pickett and Zach Wilson on primetime because they're on primetime every week. These teams, every week, it's incredible. The Steelers, the Jets, they're on primetime every week.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how entertaining they are. There are those like 4 or 5 teams that are national brands. They just keep throwing them out there. No
Dallas
matter
Cowboys, Pittsburgh Steelers, New York Jets, and
Giants.
Do you want to guess?
Don't forget the Raiders. Kind of have that fan base.
Oh, and Jimmy G. I mean,
Dolphins used to have that fan base until they
do
started
not look
sucking for
good.
the last 2 decades, and
Yeah.
then we lost our cachet and our appeal, but now we got
Cachet's back, dude.
Yeah,
Cachet's at an all-time high.
Now we got the number 1 offense in the NFL. Like, hey, we're about to be on TV all the time now.
Tobin, before we move on here, just to kind of wrap up this this Sunday slate, do you want to guess, or maybe you saw it already, Omar? Do you want to guess the spread here for Kansas City hosting Chicago at 425?
10.
I'm gonna go 12.
14.5.
It's at 13 right now because Dallas
God.
on the road is a 12.5 point favorite over Arizona, and I'm like, oh, that's got to be the biggest spread today. And then I look down one game after, Kansas City a 13-point favorite versus the Chicago Bears. That is crazy. Kansas City does not look good.
No, they did not look good. I mean, like, it also speaks to how bad Jacksonville has been because that was, I mean, they less stunk them in that matchup because it was not a good game. Everybody was looking forward to that game last week, and it wasn't good. It was turnovers left and right. But we'll see, man. That is there's obviously a lot of pressure in that game too for Justin Fields, and
More Tua on TV, baby. More Tua.
Just give me more Tua, Cam, all the time, dude. They got the white jerseys on, white on white, white out at the stadium today. Everybody's got their gear on.
The white out.
Gonna be you're gonna have a bunch of Broncos out there. I mean, they're gonna be so sweaty.
I love that. I love that the Dolphins at home, they're like, we're not wearing a aqua or orange jersey. Go ahead, Broncos. We're going white on white in this 100-degree weather.
We'll take a quick break here on Game Day Uncensored as we wind down to kickoff. Back with more for this.
Listen to Messi and Inter Miami games here.
The whistle sounds. Messi approaches.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Game Day Uncensored here on 560 WQAM. Take you up until about 1 o'clock here. Week 3 matchup, Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, about 1
Yeah,
o'clock.
because I mean, commercials. I want to be honest with you. This is probably going to get out of here like 53.
Okay.
Just so you know.
He's like about 1 o'clock.
Yeah,
Like,
about 1 o'clock. I don't
do
want
you know when I get off work or not?
Yeah, I know. You get off. It's going to be something like 53:30.
Oh,
About
okay.
the time I'm going to say, see you, everybody.
That's good. That's good, right? I think that's
My questioning is because I gotta make it to the stadium.
I
and
understand.
it's, like figure
If
this
you got a
out.
whole ass, listen, buddy, we will cover it for you for 10 minutes if you need to get down there.
we'll turn this right back into the porpoise pod.
I'm
baby.
happy.
Just
I'm
let
happy.
me know.
Let me know, dude. If you need to up and run, Omar, I'm happy to cover.
Are you
gonna-
boots on the ground, Tobin, today? Or
the stadium?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm cheeks on my couch. Yeah, no, man. I'm saving my boots on the ground for the Heat home opener. That's when I'll be back boots on the ground somewhere. But football games, it's a big hustle and bustle. There's so many, there's just so much going on at football.
So you're
so many people.
Your dash.
No interest in going to a football locker room. I did that. When I was getting sound for the station back at 790, there's so many lineman cheeks, and I'm like, I don't want to be around here. There's nobody in the Heat locker room.
What's your problem with lineman cheeks?
Bro, would you want to see Eichenberg's cheeks?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, but I'm so used to it.
I know, you probably are, but you know what? I'm just no. But because in the football, there's nowhere to hide. It's just like there's so many people here. It's not like that when I'm covering basketball games.
You're right.
Everybody gets dressed in the back anyway.
Dolphins locker room. You'll see things,
horrifying things, pit stains.
Oh God,
yeah, that's the least of
right
what you'll see.
Right. Here's a man who's. Have you seen horrifying things so far, Dan Day, or has it been lovely things? What have you got there at the stadium?
I was about to say, there's nothing but horrifying things that happen when you're in the locker room. Oh my goodness, stains is the least of your worries. Yeah, no. I mean, it's great to be in the locker room, but oh my goodness, man. But what I'm worried about today is there is nothing but shade on the field right now. There is not a sunny side either way. So it's nothing but cloudy coverage. And I mean, I hate to say this as a Dolphins fan, that's not good.
Yeah, it's one of those things. You definitely want to toast out the opponent. What is the vibe so far right there in the stadium there, Dan Day? Are people getting hyped up? Are people starting to fill out their seats? We're about like 30 minutes from kickoff.
Yeah, I would love to tell you that Dolphins fans are like filling in right now and piling in, but man, it is absolutely empty. Like there is nobody coming in, but we're 38 minutes away. We're 38.
Getting that last tailgating in, my friend. You getting that last?
You got to get that in. But I'll tell you, the tailgating is full. So I'm expecting the stadium to get full. It's just maybe a little bit too early. Dolphins fans try to get there right at kickoff time. It's not exactly full, but man, there's very little light. I mean, when I say light, there's a lot of sun in the stadium. It's very shaded. So I'm hoping that maybe the clouds can clear a little bit and we can get a lot of sun especially on the Broncos side.
Have you, what's the tailgating scene been like there? Did you stop by any tailgates on your way in?
No, that's not something I do. I'm not a big tailgater. I don't like to get out and have a good party. No, people have been crazy. Like I said, by the time I got here at 9 o'clock, because I thought they opened the gates at 9 o'clock. By the time I got here at 9 o'clock, there was already people that were already been set up. They had wet bars. They had ice chests. They were playing music. There was DJs. I'll tell you this, and I've said this before. One of the best tailgating scenes in all the world is right here in Miami. And I'm not just saying that because I'm here. I've been to LSU. I've lived in Los Angeles. I've been everywhere. It is one of the best tailgating scenes because you're so close. You have the concrete, you have grass, you have everything. And the people just love to get down. So it is unbelievable. But like I said, there's no shade on the stadium. I mean, there's a lot of shade on the stadium and there's not a lot of people in the stands yet. But like I said, we have about 35 minutes right now. So hopefully we'll get filled up. We know it's going to be a sold out crowd. So I'm not too worried about that.
I want to ask you, is it a little bit steamy out there?
Is it steamy?
Yeah, I mean, because when it rains and it gets this humid steam kind of feels sauna.
Muggy.
Yeah, muggy.
Yeah. Feel like a rainforest.
It does. Yes, it does feel like a rainforest. Does it at least have that muggy feel, or is all the rain dried up?
Well, Omar, you know me. I'm a skinny guy, so I'm not very good for the cold, but I'm very good for the heat, and I'm even sweating. So, yes, it is steamy. It is hot, and you feel as though hopefully that will definitely pull the Broncos down a little bit. Hopefully, and I heard you, Omar, on the way. This thing should be hopefully over by the fourth quarter. I think as though by the end of the third quarter, that steam, that heat, that humidity is going to wear them down a little bit, and we're going to feel really good by the fourth quarter, and we're going to start pulling away. But yeah, no, it is definitely steamy and hot, and I am not that type of guy that feels the steamy and hot usually. So yes, it is steamy and hot.
All right, Dan Day, appreciate it, man. Enjoy the game and enjoy the locker room afterwards.
That's disgusting.
Enjoy the cheeks.
There you go, Dan Day. Boots on the ground right now.
Enjoy the pasty cheeks.
Did you say enjoy the cheeks?
Enjoy the cheeks.
What's wrong with you? Hey, boss.
Enjoy the cheeks, Daniel.
Man. Speaking of cheeks, Tua and Connor Williams, they got to get the hand to cheek connection going on a little bit more, because I can't take any more of this snapping issues. This was Mike McDaniel earlier in the week. He claims he's not worried about it. I don't understand how that's possible.
My level of concern is 2/60th of the game. It's an odd thing to be concerned about, because there's it's executed very well on so many occasions. So it's like everything else where you have to try to reverse engineer. Okay, well, how can we go this whole game with this happening? What is going on right now, and getting down to the fundamentals and technique and really the mindset of it. And you're fortunate when that stuff happens, to have it happen early in the season for us to communicate and talk about, to get better from, and to have it happen in a win. Those are the best case scenarios that you're not always as fortunate to have those lessons be given to you in wins.
Look, man, that's a lot of words. Secondly, look, it's been too many. 2 for 60, 3 of 60, whatever you want to say. It's been too much, and I don't like it. It sneaks up on you whenever, and it's not only the snap exchange that's bothering me. This dude, sometimes he's snapping it over to his head. Tua's got to reach up, get it, give it to Raheem Mostert. They have been so lucky, it has felt like, with this snafu connection between Tua and Connor Williams. I don't get it, and I don't like it, Solana.
I don't understand. I get what he's saying in theory, right? Well, they're executing it every time during the game except for 2 or 3 instances. But your offense is predicated on the snap of the damn football being flawless.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're the Miami Dolphins, I mean, look at week 1. Those turnovers killed you. I mean, you could have blown out the Chargers. Instead, it was a close game. You had to come from behind and win. And luckily, Jason Sanders' kick didn't bite you in the ass, missing that extra point. Like, you can't afford those turnovers to keep Tua from having a chance to score touchdowns. You just can't, because your defense isn't as solid as you were hoping for. So I don't understand why he's downplaying it. Like, I get not making a big fuss about it, Tobin, but to downplay it like, oh, no big deal, they're executing it perfectly. I don't know, man. All you have to do is kneel the ball against the Patriots to win, and you almost screwed that up also at the very end of the game.
Here's the thing that not a lot of people are talking about, and they're putting all the onus on Connor Williams. And while he has taken responsibility for it, Tua is also responsible for some of these snapping mishaps. And as you know, nobody's really going to criticize Tua except for
he's the best.
Tua haters. So, they've worked on it after practice. I saw Tua doing like wind sprints after practice. Like, I'm like, what are you doing? Maybe
getting ready for that fourth quarter. That fourth quarter.
You know what? You might be right, because he was doing it outside. Maybe he's trying to get his wind up because it's going to be hot and humid. I don't know how much running he's going to do. If we start to see a scrambling Tua, then maybe that's my maybe that's why. But yeah, Tua was doing like wind sprints after practice, because I'm looking and I'm trying to see if he's like doing snapping exchange with Connor Williams. Nope, he's just doing wind sprints. And I was like, why is he doing wind sprints?
Are you saying this is on Tua, and McDaniel had Tua go run wind sprints as like to penalize him,
Punishment, like
punish him.
Pat Riley back in the day is going to make him do wall sits.
Like remember the Titans type
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Like you get flagged, go run.
No, yeah, right. Mike McDaniel make Tua do wind sprints. What universe is that? That's like in a Bizarro universe. I don't. I was puzzled. I mean, honestly, I have no idea what was behind that, but it was very intriguing to see. And like another thing, Raekwon Davis always does. He's mad that I talk about this, but Raekwon Davis always does 20 minutes on the bike after practice. And if you've never seen Raekwon Davis, I mean, imagine a 6'7" man who used to be like 340 pounds, but he's now looking probably like 310. He looks like a basketball player. And so that's from the standpoint of he's got to get his conditioning up to play in this defense. There's so many guys that are just taking their game to another level.
Why would it be upset that you're revealing that though? I feel like that's a cool nugget.
Private man. I'm learning Raekwon I'm learning these guys and trying to figure out exactly who they are. Because remember, I haven't been in the locker room in like 3 years because of COVID.
How big does that bike have to be?
I mean, they got bikes for these football size humans. It's not like tiny humans.
No, but
size.
He's a monster.
He is a big guy. No, but now he looks like a basketball player. He's 6'7" and he's about 300 pounds. He looks like he can play power forward.
So he's not just like on a Peloton that I use at the Alper JCC. Like he's on like a bigger bike.
It looks. I mean, your legs will dangle a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah, your legs will dangle a little bit.
We'll take a quick break here on Gameday Uncensored. Wrap things up as we get towards kickoff. Week 3, Miami Dolphins, Denver Broncos. Back after this.
Hey, want to see the ugly mugs that go along with our melodious voices? Do I have to worry about this? We are on.
It's WQAM, FM 99.9 HD2, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Sponsored by South Florida Lexus dealers, Tito's Handmade Vodka, Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac, JM Lexus, and Williamson Automotive.
All right, welcome back. Game Day Uncensored here on 560 WQAM. Tobin here with you alongside Omar Kelly and Alejandro Solana. We are closing in on week 3. Miami Dolphins taking on the Denver Broncos. Let's predict the game ball. Brought to you by Lexus.
Ooh, I hit it last week.
GX, you did. Now with a 10.3-inch touchscreen, expand your comfort zone. Experience amazing at your local Lexus dealer. You did predict it last week, Omar. You predict Raheem Mostert. He was awesome. What do you say? Who is it going to be in week 3? Do you think it's a repeat performance by Mostert getting the game ball in your eyes, or will it be somebody else?
I am going to go with Xavier Howard.
Ooh.
I think that X is going to be tested by Russell Wilson. X is going to know how to bait Russell Wilson, and if the pressure up front is going to keep Russell, can remember, you turn on the volume on that athleticism just about two notches on the dial. And Russ no longer has that escapability, and his passes deep might be off. Russell leaves off broken plays. And X, if you put that ball up there and you give X a 50% chance at it, I think he's going to deliver an interception.
Well, he had a beautiful pass to him thrown by Mac Jones last week.
A little tippy toe right on the sideline.
He ran that route for Devontae Parker.
He did.
I mean, but I expect that. I've watched him for years just own Devontae Parker, steal all of his confidence. I forgot what season it was. He stole all of Devontae's confidence. He was just like, give me that. It's mine.
Just like Christian Wilkins stole Liam Eichenberg's confidence.
Yep. Christian Wilkins broke Liam Eichenberg. It happened.
What do you got, Solana? Who do you think predict the game ball for today?
So I went Xavier Howard last week. He got the pick, but he clearly wasn't the player of the game. I'm going to stick on the defensive side here, Omar. And I'm going to go for this dream scenario. Bradley Chubb.
Okay.
Revenge game.
Revenge game. I like it.
For Chubsters. And just like you said, this Russell Wilson, he wants to ride out of the pocket. He wants to extend plays. And I like Bradley Chubb finally not just getting pressure, but getting to the quarterback multiple times in a game. I like this dream scenario. I'm going with Bradley Chubb.
I went with Tyreek Hill last week. He was slowed up by that no fun Bill Belichick, that coward who didn't want to.
You should have known better.
Challenges.
Bill wasn't going to let Tyreek beat him.
You coward, Bill Belichick. I am going to go with Braxton Berrios getting the game ball today. I think Braxton Berrios finds his way into the end zone. His first Dolphins game at his old stadium at Hard Rock Stadium. He loves that place. And I've been just really impressed with him. He's come up with a money catch in the last couple in his first couple Dolphins performances. I feel with no Jalen Waddle today, I think he's going to perform at a high level. I think he's going to shine today. So
he's going to need Robbie Abbott. He's going to need Robbie Chosen. God, the guy's got a lot of names.
What happened there?
Hey man, he wants to be referred to as Chosen.
It's a cool name.
Yeah, it is.
It is. It was very. It felt like he took the scenic route to get there.
But what wasn't it? Chosen Anderson.
Mm-hmm. And Robbie Anderson, and then he changed it and then the spelling of Robbie changed. It continues to evolve. It's a little weird, but hey, he's trying to get comfortable in his own identity.
Listen, he Ocho Cinco crawled so he could walk, like we went through all.
He is the anti Ocho Cinco. This guy's super shy, and that's why people don't realize how shy Robbie is.
Surprised that he would want Chosen on the back of his jersey.
Right. That doesn't strike me as something a shy person would do.
Because he's chosen by God. See, this is a religious thing. See,
beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Okay.
He's trying to spread the gospel of the word.
Well, hopefully today he's chosen by Tua.
Yes.
That would be nice.
I mean, I almost considered him for my player of the game.
Really?
Yeah. I'm a big Chosen fan. I think he adds the Waddle element to your offense. And that's important. Understand who Chosen is. This is a guy who came into the league as an undrafted player who earned a starting spot as a rookie in a very talented receiving corps and has never been given anything in the league. And I remember the time that Chosen would play for the Jets or play for the Carolina Panthers, and he'd be on the field after the game for hours on the Dolphins field. This means he's here because this means a lot to him.
Yeah.
Like he would literally be on the field in suit taking pictures. And I'm not talking about like 20, 30 minutes after the game or before the bus has left him and he's still here on the field because he's staying behind in South Florida. This is home. This is where he wants to be. And that's the reason why he's here. I think he can go help a team like the Chiefs and help them win a Super Bowl. But he's here because he wants to be part of this and what the Dolphins are building, which I find admirable.
Yeah, and I thought, like, I was finding it kind of surprising that he did want to stick around because if you like a guy who has been in the league as much, I know he's had like run-ins with coaches and things like that, but I would have thought that practice squad for a guy like Robbie Chosen, I would have thought, I'm like, he's going to do that.
Yeah.
And now the opportunity's here for him. And, we saw last week, like opportunity knock for Van Ginkel, and now he's going to get even more. So maybe that is what happens today with Waddle out.
This team loves that seizing opportunity. Adversity creates opportunity. Have it written on their locker room door. And that's what they're all about. It's literally you walk in there, you see adversity creates opportunity. And this is a situation where a lot of guys, Braxton, River, Chosen, Devon Chain, you're talking about go to that, so to the secondary, whoever's going to play Justin Bethel, those guys, you're going to get your chance and your opportunity, and it's time to rise to the occasion.
Yeah, you see that mix. It's interesting. We saw that with the Heat this year. They obviously have their stars, but they have a lot of guys who are kind of cast off too. And I think that's kind of the cool thing with Raheem Mostert. Yeah, all right, you guys can look at all these stars and all that. That's nice, but I'm just going to go here and I'm going to, still be the fastest or second fastest, whatever they want to do with their little debate.
Hey man, he
got in the field.
He let up. Yeah, I'm just saying he let up on that run.
Why don't they just race?
I've always said that and always wondered that, and I don't think Mike McDaniels would be into it.
No.
But yeah, that's the last thing you want to do. Somebody strain a hamstring, like
it's one of those
racing
things.
One another.
It's one of those things that's better that they don't do. Like it's just better that they just always
the
have
lore.
the
lore of it,
the lore, the mystery, whatever it is. Because like once you race, then if it's settled, that's kind of boring. We don't have that. It's kind of like it's like fighters that always want to put that like fictional matchup out there. It's like, yeah, we'll never know. We'll never know. It's fun to call. I don't know if I ever want to know this.
They actually use the GPS times. They're like that. They're very serious about like who's the fastest player in the NFL. And Tyreek's sitting on the throne right now,
of course,
because he owns the fastest time of the season, the two of the fastest times of the season, till Raheem got in there and got the number 2 spot, and then bragged that he let up at the end of the run, which he did.
He did. He was gone.
Yeah, he was gone, and he let up. Yeah. So they are super, and A-Chain can challenge. A-Chain supposedly is the fastest. They
track star.
Yeah, A-Chain exactly. He's got the fastest track time of the whole crew because Waddle ran track.
It's what makes this like the speed on this team. It is just so exciting because it just feels like they have so many guys. Like you just give them a little wrinkle, gone.
Yeah,
and everything just so used to like the cluttered, cloud of dust, boring
20-yard in the box,
and now it's just like.
Well, it's that mentality, right? Like we're just gonna be more physical than you, and that's how we're gonna beat you. We're gonna run right through your throat. And McDaniel's like, no, we're just gonna be faster than you and more skilled than you. That's why it's more fun here.
Yeah, no, it is. But this is gonna be a fun element because you have.
Yeah, it's fun when you're winning.
It is fun when you're winning, and this is a game. Like, look, we've joked because we've even been guilty in this show a couple times of overlooking to the Bills.
We failed.
Yeah, we failed, but. This matchup, I think, with the reason being is like, look, this is a Broncos team that has look at me, I'm a bum. This is a Broncos team that we think they're better than. They should be better than. They should handle. It's a home atmosphere. It's gonna be hot as hell.
Yep.
It's gonna be, the fans are gonna be juiced up.
Tyreek's gonna go get an IV at halftime.
Definitely. Oh,
he is.
You are in trouble with that happens.
Yeah, he is absolutely an IV at halftime guy.
Third quarter, avoid those third quarter cramps like in Baltimore.
Yeah, no, he's traditionally he goes against IV right before the half ends. As long as they don't need him for a final drive. All right, time for IV.
It's the secret stuff.
Yeah,
and then the cheetah is revved up. They don't even know, because Mr. Unlimited.
Unlimited.
Wait till he's in this humidity. He'll be pretty limited by the end of this game. Oh, dude, this is hot.
That's right.
I know, man.
That's right.
That's right.
Ciara gonna be there?
Yeah, for a Miami game.
Miami.
Yeah, come on, dude. Everybody wants to visit down here. Everybody.
You know.
All right, we got to put money on it if we see Sierra in the stand somewhere. Pictured. I don't know if she's here.
And she'll be.
Remember, she's pregnant.
She'll...
Remember, she's pregnant.
Oh, is she?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well,
how pregnant? Do we know?
We're evaluating how pregnant.
I don't know.
She is.
Yeah, break down how pregnant she is.
I think she might be 4 months. Let me.
I don't know. 4 months is you know, you might little baby moon for the Wilsons.
Yeah, like barely showing at 4 months, right?
Huh? Yeah.
I guess he's unlimited.
Yeah. But I know. I think for this is everybody wants to come down here.
I would have said she'd be live, right? Live at Hard Rock Stadium. But if she's pregnant,
you might need to just be in the wine and cheese lounge, you know, nice and relaxed, and have that going
air conditioned.
But it's no, man. This is definitely a game I think the Dolphins should handle, and if they do, the hype's gonna crank up even more. Dude.
Like you said earlier, Tobin. I mean, if they're the team we think they are, as legit as they are, you win this game. You're 2-0 against an 0-2 team, home opener. You win this game. You take care of business in front of your.
There's
hometown.
part of me that actually would like to see more of a complete game from them, though. Like we've had as fun as the 2-0, so they have had self-inflicted wounds that have made things a little bit more angsty than they should be. So it's kind of like I kind of want one of those, wire to wire clean wins, as opposed to, cursing Jason Sanders' name as I have been over the last couple of weeks.
They're 2-0 and haven't played the best football they're capable of playing yet by far, which is also a scary sight for the rest of the league, right? Like Dolphins have won 2 straight here against 2 decent opponents and really haven't played up to the level that we all think they're capable of playing.
That's fair.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, everybody, listen. You enjoy the games today. If you're heading on out there, if you are at the tailgates, enjoy this one. Miami Dolphins.
Drink some water. Drink some water. Hydrate. Stay hydrated.
Because we don't have IVs for you at Hard Rock. They should have an IV.
Drink some beer.
They should have an IV.
They should have an IV. Yeah, dude. Like they always have those. Those are like the new hip thing instead of an oxygen bar.
Garfinkel on that.
Let's get an
IV lounge.
Don't text Garfinkel. I mean, my girlfriend's a nurse practitioner. I mean, I think we just got a little business going at Hard Rock.
Let's go. We gotta go. Where's that IV lounge you guys talked about? It's like, instead of like, once the alcohol sales cut off, the IV lounge opens up.
Yeah.
That's how you go.
Everybody's right into your vein.
Everybody's ready to go. The Dolphins are ready to go. We'll be back next week, same time, 9 a.m., getting you ready for Dolphins and Bills. But until then, everybody, enjoy the football.
Thanks for listening to Game Day Uncensored, the pregame show for real Miami.